You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk, or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
At St. Jude, our family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the podcast tonight. I appreciate being here. So, topics tonight. Apparently, our future destruction via robots is looking a lot less Schwarzenegger and a lot more Jenna Jameson. And no, that may actually be more terrifying than the way it sounds. A Florida sheriff had to warn residents that braved the hurricane down in Florida that they shouldn't discharge their firearms at the hurricane. Also, a pretty fascinating, creepy, and disturbing story about a 17th century possessed nun who wrote something that was unable to be decoded until recently using deep web software. Oprah prepares for 60 Minutes. Celebrities turn a Harvey fundraiser into a political agenda event. Jim Carrey seems to have a breakdown in an interview, but did he actually? And Miss America pageant turns it political while a dating website teams up with Planned Parenthood. There's a lot of cultural things that we're going to be going over. Uma Abedin gets her wiener caught up in a sex scandal. Portland police are nixing an often used term for crime because of the social implications. Nancy Pelosi, is she talking about a celebrity or having a stroke? We'll find out when we check out one of her clips. Also, Ben Shapiro braves the Berkeley Antifa protesters to talk about campus culture at large with some epic smackdowns in the Q&A section. And we talk about President Trump's past 2 weeks. Is he one hell of a smart cookie, or is he seriously abandoning his base and retreating to the Democrat side? We have a panel tonight, so it's certainly going to be a good time. This is the Generation Y Conservative Podcast. Welcome to the Generation Y Conservative Podcast. I'm glad that you could be with us tonight. As always, you can find us here on usually Friday or Thursday nights doing the live podcast on Facebook Live. So I encourage you to go find out on the website page. Just hit the like button on Facebook and then the notifications. You can actually get notifications when we go live. Also, along the bottom of your screen right now, if you're watching, is you can watch and head over to the YouTube page where you can actually get notifications when we publish videos as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about one of the more recently published videos that we just released this week too. Also, if you're interested in interacting with me, you can find me on Twitter at Gen Y Conservative without the E on the end. Let's see, what do we got going on tonight? This month's spotlighted charity, which we've been spotlighting throughout September, is Mercury One. It's a charitable organization down in Dallas, Texas. And right now, the run that they're doing is for the hurricane reliefs, as well as the wildfires out west, and a couple other things as well. But we've been really focusing on the Houston area in Texas, and they've been really helping out with that, with multiple sponsors kind of wrapped up into it. What I always go back to with this charity is I typically try to find as many charities as possible that give 100% of their proceeds to the actual charity itself to give in relief efforts. There's some big ones out there that actually have a lot of the percentage of that charity go to administrative costs, salaries, everything like that. And there's actually word that in the Houston area, I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know if it's true or not, but a story that was floating around today was that Red Cross members were put up in a 5-star hotel. And that just doesn't seem necessary when that money could be going elsewhere. Now, if they were put up there for free because of their efforts and everything, that's a different story. But at the same time, there are these kinds of organizations out there that wastefully spend money that should be going to help out relief efforts. So Mercury One is one of those charities. They are helping out in fantastic ways right now. I encourage you to go and check them out. To learn more about how you can actually donate to them, you can go to www.mercury1.org. /Hurricane-Harvey or just mercury1.org, where you can actually donate to multiple causes. And I think that you are able to pick where your money actually goes in that case. So, Let me go around the table. We got a panel tonight. I'm very excited about that. 2 people have already been on the podcast. I've been trying to get Vanden on the podcast for a while now. I've been asking him. But as you know, Mike is always on the podcast. I'm just going to go around the table. One thing I neglect to do oftentimes is if you're interested, you can give out your Twitter handle and kind of interact with people too if you want.
I don't use Twitter that much.
All right.
Yeah, so it's not
so that's okay. You can interact with us on the podcast.
Yeah, podcast, comments in the YouTube section. You know,
absolutely.
That
you get
would be
involved
great.
in those.
Yep.
Yeah. Next up, we have Vanden, who I've known since elementary school, really. So he's joining us tonight. I've been trying to get him on for quite a while, and we have Brant, who's been on the podcast quite a few times as well. So is this your first time? No, not here at this location. The other ones I know you were heavy over on the other side.
No,
you have done them here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to welcome these 2 back, and I want to give a good, hearty welcome to Vanden tonight. So I had mentioned earlier that we are publishing videos on YouTube, and the podcast is always available. We split up clips. One of the funnier clips, if you get a chance, honestly, go and check out last week's clip of Hillary Clinton's new memoir that Mike and I were talking about.
I watched it last night with Tracy, and it just... it was just as funny watching it again as it was, especially after seeing her various interviews now. It's just compounding her wallowing in her own self-misery.
Oh my gosh. It was really funny though, so you should check that out. But also, we are doing movie reviews, and it's been a while since our last movie review. The last movie review before the one that we just did was actually for Spider-Man Homecoming. And the one that we just did last weekend was for the movie It, which I have been excited to see for 2 years now. I've been following the production of this. So I just kind of want to give a quick story about the night and how it went down. Encourage you to go check out the movie review. The first couple minutes, I think 10 minutes, is a overview of the movie and our general scoring on it without giving any spoilers. And then there is a spoiler zone if you have seen the movie. You can actually watch that and get more details and kind of get involved and kind of either agree or disagree with our favorite parts on it. Yep. But yeah, so we showed up to the movie theater and we got there a little earlier than the show time. So one thing I said was I'd like to go over to Red Robin, which is next to it, and pick up a red balloon for the review to have him kind of floating in the background, making it look kind of creepy, but more so funny because I was letting him have fun with it in the back if you watch the video. But we went over and got that. We went to see the movie. And then as I'm walking out from the movie, I'm walking out and I'm beelining it for the car. And this couple is standing right next to my car at their car. And they both kind of stopped and looked at me because I was heading straight for them. And they gave me this look like, what is he coming straight at us for? So I said, don't worry, I'm not coming after you. I know we all just saw this movie. And they started laughing. I get in the car, I start slowly pulling away, and I slow down right next to him. And as I'm driving, I put the red balloon up into the window. And the woman goes, oh, hell no! Just runs into the car. The guy starts laughing. I start cracking up. I probably sound like Pennywise cackling, So then we head over. We park in a parking lot at a car dealership. We get through the whole review.
We were going to go to the Kmart parking lot because they have the lights
all
on.
All the lights were turned out. And then we head over to this car dealership that I used to work at. We park there. We get through the whole review. And we are literally just said, hey, all right, have a good night. Said goodbye. It's 1:30 in the morning.
If your battery wasn't dead, we would have gotten out of there no problem. But we had to jump at this guy.
And I think it's important to mention, this isn't like Scott Chevrolet. This is like
Maserati.
There's a whole parking lot full of Maseratis, and there we are in our failing drivers.
So as I pull out and back up, 2 cop cars pull in right behind us with the lights flashing. They start questioning us and what we're doing there. And I'm standing there. They say, wait, what are you doing here? I'm doing a movie review. I have a YouTube channel.
And this is right after, we jumped the car.
Yeah. And he's like, what?
And good lighting here.
Yeah, so he starts questioning us. He's looking at our licenses and everything. And then as we're talking, behind Mike, 3 more cop cars pull up.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there with 5 cop cars with the lights on and all these guys getting out, and we're standing there.
In their defense, they did say that there was a history of people stealing the wheels.
Yeah. So
now he points out behind me up until the time we pulled out to leave, I still thought there were only 2. When I pulled around and I was like, what the hell is going on? It's like, geez, the whole squad is here, you know? So, it was something else.
Needless to say, a lot of work went into this damn review, so check it out.
And I think all of us did not expect the movie to not be the scariest thing we saw that night.
Yeah. Seriously. But yeah, quick overview. I think we all said go see the movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Awesome movie.
I actually, if I would have known that there were going to be 2 other co-hosts, I probably would be watching it again with Tracy right now. It's like, can we go see it? I was like, I told Chris I got to do the podcast. I don't want to leave him by himself. Yeah. And then I pull in the driveway's full.
Oh, boy.
It's funny.
Okay, so, all right, so we're going to actually start off tonight by getting into some tech news. So the New York Post actually reported that hackers could program sex robots to kill in the future. With sex, the New York Post, with sex robots becoming increasingly popular and sophisticated, cybersecurity lecturer Dr. Nick Patterson revealed that the lifelike dolls could end up going all Terminator on us. So instead of saying, instead of hearing that old "I'll be back," you'll hear "I'll rub your back." The risk is that hackers could breach the realistic robot's inner defenses. So now we're going all Matrix on these damn things, and catch their owners with their pants down. So the tech expert from Australia's Deakin University said hackers can hack into a robot or a robotic device and have full control of the connections, arms, legs, and other attached tools like knives or welding devices.
Why would there be knives or welding devices attached to a sex doll?
Don't judge.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a fetish, you know. Yeah. Once a robot is hacked, the hacker has full control and can issue instructions to the robot. The cyber defense guru added, the last thing you want is for a hacker to have control over one of these robots. Once hacked, they could absolutely be used to perform physical actions for an advantageous scenario or to cause damage. So we got you. You got. What do you think, Bannon?
I don't know. It's very interesting. Is that the Equifax brand?
Yeah. If it says Equifax on it, you've probably been breached already. You should return it.
Oh man.
Anything to add?
Nope.
Just the ways to get killed. Like, it's just horrifying.
Oh boy, man. So
I'm bleeding out.
Okay, so here's some really cool news. Actually, I know that you're actually both of you. I think we've talked about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
A lot, and the cool things he's doing. Number one for our industry, the solar shingles, not solar panels, solar shingles that they're putting out.
Yep.
Awesome. You and I have talked about some of the other ventures that he's doing that are neat.
Only for sale in California.
Yeah. So Elon Musk is saying that Tesla will unveil its all-electric semi-truck Beast on October 22nd. So Musk is tweeting the news, but stated that the date is actually tentative at this point. The truck is expected to be a battery-powered heavy-duty vehicle that can travel up to 300 miles on a single charge. Originally, Musk suggested that the truck could be unveiled this month, but he hopes that such a vehicle could compete with conventional diesels, which can actually travel up to 1,000 miles on a single tank of fuel. So I wouldn't say it's a direct competitor at this point, but it's certainly a step in the cool direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's an industry where, I don't know how many semi-truck drivers are going to get on board with that. Again, $1,000 per stop.
Yeah.
And they can stop at a truck.
Wait, $1,000 per stop?
1,000 miles.
Oh, okay.
Per tank.
Yeah.
And they can stop at a truck stop, sleep in their trucks, fuel up, be ready the next morning. Where can they go in the middle of a...
You might as well sleep during an electric charge up. How long is that going to take?
That's what I was wondering. It's one thing
it's
to...
be substantially bigger than the charge for the vehicles, for the cars.
Yeah. But, if we're looking down the line at the future of these types of things, you're looking at faster charging, and they just keep on advancing the technology. This is obviously a great foot in the door to get going with this kind of technology.
Yeah. It's a good start.
Yeah, absolutely.
You wonder how they haven't been able to develop some kind of technology where the car is kind of charging itself as it drives, some kind of friction-based
thing.
They have
been playing around
with
that with hydrogen-based vehicles, basically with the second and sometimes third alternator, breaking down the hydrogen and the oxygen atoms as they're
solar panels, put a little windmill on the front there.
Right.
Nice.
Propellers on the front of the car.
That was a big thing when we were in high school. Like during the Earth Day celebrations, they always had the little electric.
Oh yeah,
remember those?
I remember that.
Yeah,
we went down to Cedar Beach.
Yeah.
I keep on thinking about that. Just the stupid Captain Planet stuff and all the stuff that we used to do in elementary school. Oh my word! Anything? Let me see here. In August, it was actually discovered that Tesla was developing a long-haul electric semi-truck that could drive itself and move in platoons that followed a lead vehicle, according to an email discussion of potential road tests between the car company and Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles. So let me ask you guys this. Have you seen the movie Logan?
Yes. No.
No? So in that movie, it was actually really cool. A cool look at what the future could hold, which was the semi-trucks were just the box cars of the back, just driving without drivers and just moving on the wheels and just self-driving.
Yeah.
And that's potentially kind of what they're talking about here with the, follow the leader type stuff and everything. I mean, we're getting to some crazy points here. You know what I mean? And if you really think down the road of discussions on where we're heading with electric vehicles and what the potential future holds, is if we actually get to a point where we can get everyone on electric vehicles or self-driving vehicles, there's no more traffic. Think about that, because traffic happens when there's a jam in the system from someone going slow. But if the computer systems can all figure out perfect traffic flow, you can literally have cars bumper to bumper driving at high speeds and getting off in perfect unison out and going through everything, not have any accidents, not have any traffic jams or anything. Like you could literally get to that point.
I think that what needs to happen for that to become a reality is, first, I don't know if you follow tech articles like I do. They actually were developing a road, right, that had the lights underneath and they could heat it. Right. So I think what would need to happen first is you'd have to have a vehicle that could communicate, and just making the roads are too, GPS isn't even all that great. So if you made a road similar to that so that the vehicle is communicating with the actual road itself, I think that makes it better. And then if they do that, the same way you can put a little piece in the back of a smartphone and charge it just by having it near the charging source, why not have the vehicles charging from something proprietary that's running in the road system itself? At that point, the roads go a certain way, the vehicles communicating with that. And I think that's the only safe way to do it. And I think that's also probably somehow the answer to the charging issue as well.
I don't really know enough about it, but and I think anything where we can, make stuff more efficient, would be better, because it is frustrating when you're driving and one person makes the whole roadway.
And lately, it's when people slow down to look at a freaking accident.
Yeah.
That's
all the time. I mean, but it's
22.
Oh my word, it's horrible.
I always say that's like the biggest thing. But then when I drive by it, I can't.
How would the electric cars deal with?
We're going slow anyway.
Yeah. How would electric cars deal with the Pennsylvania's national flower? The orange traffic cone. I mean, would they sense those?
Probably.
They'd have to. You figure self-driving cars would have to have some kind of sensors to detect motion.
Some of the Tesla vehicles are already self-driving and actually doing really well. You have to have a driver behind the wheel just in case, always paying attention. But I've seen the Model X. Oh my word, those things are incredible. The SUV, captain chairs in all four areas and.
Listen, this Jetsons world that you're talking about sounds like really great until the Terminator sex dolls become sentient and then hack into the car systems as well. And then we're in trouble.
All right, so here's something for you guys that you might find interesting. Have you guys heard of MoviePass?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
maybe.
Oh, Mr. Tech Articles guy over here.
This isn't.
No, so according
Netflix for movie theaters, basically.
Yes, it's really neat. So according to Engadget, MoviePass is struggling to keep up with its new members. Last month, MoviePass launched a $9.95 no-contract unlimited subscription that allows customers access to standard film, which doesn't include 3D and IMAX. Doesn't include.
Yep.
Per day in theaters without blackouts. So that means for basically $10 a month, you can go to the movie theater and see one movie every day.
It's basically for the price of one movie ticket.
Yeah. So I don't have this in here, but basically the premise behind this, the reason why they think that movie theaters won't lose money, and I was explaining this to Vanden before you guys got here, is that they anticipate with a large membership that there will end up being a large portion of those people that buy into it and just don't use it. And don't take advantage of it, and they forget it for months. It's kind of like a Planet Fitness membership.
Yeah, right.
Right. So, which I would know.
Yeah, been there. Essentially, they're
Let's sit there.
overbook the theaters like United Airlines.
Well, no, because you actually have to get the ticket then. Like, you can't, it's not like a reserved seat every day or anything. But, so they anticipate a lot of these not actually being used. And that's how they would make money. Now, AMC Theaters is one that has been battling.
Push back. Yeah.
In 2 states. I don't think it was all across the board, but 2 states they were fighting back on this.
Yep.
But the subscription service claims its website was overwhelmed by the ensuing volume of traffic from interested patrons, and it's still struggling with the load. Although its site looks like it's running smoothly, it's the card logistics that are causing issues now, and that's a big problem. In the absence of the card, you'll have to rely on e-tickets, which are only available at select locations. MoviePass claims that customers are currently facing a 2 to 3 week delay in card deliveries, and as if that wasn't enough, it also adds that it sent out some of the cards in the wrong order.
Oh, man.
So in the wake of its original announcement, Fox Film CEO Stacey Snider criticized MoviePass's wacky business model. AMC Theaters, like we just mentioned before, even resisted the move by reportedly blocking users from purchasing e-tickets at locations in Boston and Denver. So cities, 2 cities, not states. The largest theater chain in the country also threatened legal roadblocks. So I think it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool service, obviously, and if they can make it work. Go ahead and say what you said about like catching up.
It was just like when Netflix was starting out and they took their idea to Blockbuster. Blockbuster kind of laughed at them and said, "Well, we're Blockbuster. We're going to do our own." And I mean, there's not too many Blockbusters anymore. I mean,
there are a few.
Yeah, like very
one
few.
Or 2 in the country.
Yeah, very few.
Why are they holding on at this point?
I would think movie theaters would want more people coming in because, I mean, if you buy popcorn and a drink, it's like, I don't know, $20, $25.
Yes. Actually, I think Vanden makes a really good point because a lot of these movie theaters that are coming up and coming, like not the old style. First of all, the ones around here have revamped the old style and put in the recliner seats.
The bars.
They put the bar in. That's what I was just going to. You have these movie taverns that are going up all over the country where they actually put more aisle space and have waitresses coming and delivering food. You can order off of a menu and everything.
Ironically enough, that's really only new here. I was talking to my wife the other week, and she's basically said, "This is the way all the theaters are in Nicaragua." Like, here I thought we were cutting edge, and we're just catching up on that.
But yeah, you make a great point, which is that they got to get people in because movie sales are down year after year lately, and they need to get people back in the theater. I think it has a lot to do with a lot of crap being pushed out.
Oh yeah,
but
and the ability, the increasing ability for people to watch movies say for free online.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And you can get them before they're out sometimes in the theater. So
I'm not saying there's an Android box out there that can do that.
But I was thinking the same thing too. I almost feel like the MoviePass thing would affect more the studios because having worked in a movie theater before, the price of the ticket, a big chunk of that goes to studios. The theater itself doesn't make much on the ticket price. That's why concessions are so expensive. Because that's where they make money. So if you actually have, like you were saying, a lot of people coming in with this service, they're getting the free movie ticket, but they're still buying popcorn and soda and whatever. So the theater itself will still make money that way. It might be the studios that hurt more. So who knows?
I'm not used to so many people. So anybody else on this topic at all? No? Move on? All right, so let's go to... Let's go to something that's kind of loosely related to science. So a friend of mine and a fan of the page actually requested that I cover an article, which is actually kind of cool. Yeah. If you guys are interested in me covering any topic, certainly send them to the Facebook page's message system and let me know that you want me to cover a certain topic. I'd be happy to, because I got to search every week and spend hours putting a script together for what we're actually going to talk about. And I love interacting with people. By the way, I have a liberal follower of the page who has been interacting a lot lately. Mm-hmm. Very cordial, very civil in her debates and everything. Yep. And I love it. Like, she's even private messaged me, and we talk about how much we appreciate each other when she's asking me questions and everything. It's awesome. Like, that's the way we should be. You know what I mean? Sure. So big shout out to Kendra. So, okay. So what this topic is about, according to ABC News, a sheriff in Florida warned people against shooting at Hurricane Irma firearms.
Was it effective?
No. So amid a devastating hurricane in Florida, police there are having to warn people not to shoot at the storm after a Facebook event called Shoot at Hurricane Irma garnered 54,000 replies of interest.
So there's a market.
There's a reason why Russia won't invade. It's because we have all our firearms. And we're just trying to show it up to the hurricanes too. Like, don't come around here now.
I saw that article. I didn't read it.
Yeah.
All I saw was an illustration.
Yes.
Now, tell me if this is where this goes. Was there a scientist or someone claiming that if you shoot into the hurricane, that the bullet will come back?
There's not back, but there's a possibility of curvature. Obviously,
it'll alter the
path of it. Yeah, absolutely.
But it won't do like a 180. Yeah.
Can you imagine the whole crowd goes out and does it, and then they're all done?
Wasn't that movie, The Wanted, where they can curve
curve the bullet? Yeah. Is that what it was called? The Wanted?
Wanted.
Yeah, Wanted. Awesome. Yeah. So the police department actually put out a tweet that said, to clarify, capital letters, do not shoot weapons at Irma. You won't make it turn around, and it will have very dangerous side effects. And that was a sheriff in Pasco County, which is just north of Tampa along Florida's west coast. You know, they're stupid. These people. It obviously takes a rocket launcher to take down something that big.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know what the heck they were thinking.
But how many people? How many people were?
There were 54,000 replies of interest.
And now, folks, now you know why this week's podcast is called "Shoot at Hurricane Irma." Generation Y Conservative.
Well, we are talking about Florida, where there's a bunch of retirees, so they were probably out there shooting and saying, "Get off my lawn, Irma!"
Yeah.
Oh man! Oh boy! So, anything on Irma? You don't want to shoot at Irma? She's coming up. Is that's past now for us? Right?
Yeah, I think now they're eyes on Jose.
Jose's just been wobbling around.
Yeah,
I guess it's caught up in.
No way, Jose.
No way, Jose.
Yeah, we're not to sea. Right?
90% chance they said it's just going to curve out, go back out to sea. Right now, it's just kind of shuddering around. They said the worst possible case scenario is it curves north and basically hits New York. New Jersey, that area, but they said there's like a 2% chance of that happening.
So there's a chance.
Yeah, did you see it? Projections for Irma as it's heading straight at it's still 15, the spaghetti model.
Those models, when you look at them while they're still in the ocean coming up, it looks like someone's shooting a party popper at the United States.
Yeah. You could have just said it can hit anywhere.
Yeah.
It can hit anywhere in the United States.
I did see one. It said it could hit anywhere from Florida to Maine. I was like, well, that's really narrowed it down.
This is my cover your ass.
Let's go to the European model. No, Florida to Maine.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so this is actually, I personally find this article awesome. As creepy as all hell.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So,
it's not fair. You guys get to see.
So, we bust the chops of I effing love science all the time. And I'm going to give them a little bit here, too. But their article this week was incredible, right? So, the article was entitled Letter Written by a Possessed Nun, Decoded Using Software from the Deep Web. So, I have to read through the details of this because it blows my mind.
Hundreds of years ago.
17th century. Wow. So 1600s, right?
Yep.
I always hate that.
Yeah, it's always...
That's ridiculous. So back in the 17th century, a Sicilian nun wrote a letter claiming that she had been possessed by the devil, not a demon, by the devil. Over 340 years later, scientists have finally deciphered this rambling message using a decryption program that they came across on the deep web. The letter was supposedly written by Sister Maria Crocifis. Dang it, they got me again. Della Concezione at the monastery of Palma di Montechiero in the early hours of August 11th in 1676. The following morning, she awoke covered in ink and claimed that she had been possessed by Satan, who forced her to write the message. And at the time, claims like this were taken very seriously. This is from the I Effing Love Science website here. However, no one could work out what the letter said because it was written in a rumbled, archaic alphabet Italian news radio 105 had reported. Now the letter has made its way into the hands of Ludum Science Center in Catania, who have been deciphering the symbols using a code-breaking software found on the deep web. They said, "We heard about the software, which we believed is used by intelligence services for code breaking," said Daniel Abate, director of the Ludum Science Center. "We primed the software with ancient Greek, Arabic, and runic alphabet and Latin to descramble some of the letter and show that it really is devilish. They have already translated 15 lines of the letter." So keep in mind, this letter was written by this woman in this night of possession in 1676.
Yeah. Way before this.
Yeah. It's 2017, and we still haven't decrypted it yet.
Yeah.
They've translated 15 lines already.
Yeah.
Okay? And so far, their work has revealed that the letter speaks of the relationship between God, Satan, and humans. It reads, "God thinks he can free mortals. This system works for no one. Perhaps now, Styx is certain." It goes on to try and convince the nun to abandon her faith, arguing that God is merely the invention of man and that Jesus and the Holy Ghost are dead weights. That is... I have goosebumps. Like, seriously, that's crazy, right?
That's weird.
Now, I did read that article because it was awesome.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing that got me most about it was, by the way, with the help of the deep web, we have now proved in God and Satan.
Yeah.
But...
And we're getting into that.
Oh.
About what they're claiming is the reason why she did it?
Yeah. Even though we've proven that, but by the way, it's not that.
Yeah, exactly. Where is it here? Okay, so this is exactly what I Effing Love Science wrote. Still, the question remains, why or how did the nun manage to write this? Well, first of all, the researchers have reason to believe the woman was suffering from bipolar disorder, so she could be prone to experiencing delusions or hallucinations. Bipolar. Two somethings. Wouldn't that be the definition of possession if you're going through that?
Yeah, right.
I mean, for crying out loud. Yeah, she's experiencing multiple personality disorder. Yeah, because Satan has taken over part of her freaking body. For crying out loud. But she was also familiar with several languages and spent a lot of her time studying linguistics. First of all, okay, we're talking about times of philosophers and stuff like that, right? Yeah. I mean, honestly. And you're telling me that some nun in a monastery came up with something that was so undecodable that we haven't managed to do something until now with software?
Yeah. If you would have just...
Which if they still had, you could make an argument in, but the fact that they're translating it and it makes sense...
Yeah.
I mean, even just for,
that it goes along with what she claimed.
It's reasonable to assume the rest is eventually going to make sense, so it's not like it was, some...
It was a heebie-jeebies, man.
Yeah, I mean, even if she's well-versed in different languages, if she was just writing this, and it would have been decoded a long time ago.
According to this article, people have been looking at this since it was written.
And didn't they say that one of the languages they fed in was Sumerian?
I believe so. I'm not sure.
Which was a language that existed so far before 300, 400 years ago that, I mean, I would imagine even then... it wasn't exactly a practice for spoken language or taught language,
Greek, Arabic, runic alphabet, and Latin.
Not what I read.
But there could be other stuff in there as well because they just fed it all in, and it still hasn't all been decoded yet.
Yeah.
So they're still working on it.
If they'll publish it. I hope they do.
I kind of
why
hope
don't
they
they
do too.
publish it to let everyone try to? How long is it? Does it say?
No, but it says it's already translated 15 lines of this thing. So to me, I mean, I'm blown away because I'm reading this and I'm thinking to myself, like that amount of time to decode something that happened in one night, by a faithful nun in a monastery, that it takes this long to decode and then it doesn't end up being gibberish, which is what you pointed out.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, this reinforces
That's crazy.
This reinforces the God argument, right, and religion argument. And for I having loved science, I mean, we rip into them all the time. But the fact is, like these people that are so, I love science. I've said it before with you guys.
Yeah.
Science, to me, proves faith even more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the more microscopic you go and see how designed everything is, and the further out you look into the galaxy and universe and how big everything is, right? Mm-hmm. Just shows to me that there's a designer there, right? Yeah. That everything works perfectly with each other, that our planets in our specific solar system aren't colliding with each other and we're flying off the edges of it.
In the last 10 years, it's been my most favorite time for science versus God clash, because every time they make an argument, something comes out. Like they'll say, okay, the Big Bang Theory, except where did it come from? Where did the rock come from? It doesn't make sense. And then some scientist comes out and goes, oh, by the way, here's this theory. I just proved it. You can make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
We'll go with that one.
We'll go with it. And there's just, but then it gets buried, and there's always some, but it was bipolar.
We're talking about being buried. I think scientists did come out within the last year or two and said that the Big Bang Theory has now been proven false.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
I said that's why it's always been the Big Bang Theory and never the Big Bang Fact.
Yes. So
proof that there's God, there's evidence for proof towards God and the devil, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, what I was about to say there is the fact that, if you argue against the norm in science, if you even question climate change or even parts of climate change, or if you believe in God, you're criticized and demonized, no pun intended, over what you're saying, and science has to rule the day. And it's always theories. It's never, because it's always fluid. Science is never wrong. They just readjust their findings and everything else, But I love science. I think it proves a lot of things. I happen to believe that it proves further down the line for my own faith, but it doesn't work the other way around, right? You come up with something like this, which is that should blow anyone's mind, what just happened there, right? But instead they're like, well, she was bipolar and knew other languages. What the? After hundreds of years, it took that long for intelligent people?
And they said that they've been trying to, they offered a reward.
Yes.
They offered a reward to anybody who could decipher. And it was something pretty substantial, especially
at least thousands of dollars.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah.
And they were giving it to scholars and everything else, and nobody could touch it.
Anything on that?
How did they know she was bipolar back then? Were there psychiatrists back then?
Well, no, with all the extensive evidence and having had interviewed her, and she's seen a psychologist now 300 years later.
They're assuming things we don't do here.
First of all, who's to say that she wasn't a priest?
Yeah, right.
I fall into the trap,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that to me. That's the story of the night for me. I'm still completely blown by that.
Cool. I think that's the media, just like everything, will steer it in a direction, and anytime there's something that's legitimate science that points, it's classified as fringe science.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if there's a theory like the Big Bang Theory that supports their narrative, then it's a theory, but it's a sound theory.
Yeah.
Accepted by the scientific community.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I had written out my topics for tonight and tried to organize them into different things, being tech, religion, science, culture, and politics. And I actually had this one in the culture section along with the other celebrity news and everything. But I actually bumped it up to religion earlier tonight to kind of go after the one article that we just went over before, because I really feel that it deals with it. And a lot of the talk shows, radio shows, and everything I've been listening to have been covering this. because it's just interesting, and people think that they see people falling apart, right? Have you guys seen Jim Carrey on the Icon
interview?
Awards interview?
Yeah, but then it was followed up with another article about he got picked up for a TV show, and it was called Dark Comedy. So I was just, I haven't actually read the whole second article, but they said it was his first return to TV since In Living Color, and
grew up with In Living Color,
and they just in the first few sentences I read said it's considerably darker comedy than that. So I was, I don't know, is Jim Carrey a method actor historically?
I think he does get pretty serious, though. Even when he was doing some of his non-comedy roles, like The Truman Show, I heard he was pretty kind of crazy.
I know the new
Truman
TV show is
great.
The new TV show is with one of the same directors that was involved in, was it Spotless Minds?
Yeah.
Which was a kind of a bizarre, dark, weird type
I've
movie.
heard it's good, but I haven't seen it.
I'm waiting to see if that was like a
publicity stunt.
Well, it's almost like when he did Man on the Moon.
If he was pulling
Andy Kaufman.
The Andy Kaufman movie, and Andy Kaufman was known for that, pulling stunts on shows to kind of build up his character,
It's actually in
advertising.
Yeah.
Well, who's that actor that went?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Walk the Line. And
Yes.
he went with that for like 2 years before he finally came out and said, I'm not really crazy, but So I'm waiting to see if that was.
It's interesting to see this conversation play out the way it is before I actually get into it.
I haven't even seen it.
Because I think that's what a lot of people are trying to theorize, is they're trying to see if it is in his acting, right? And I happen to believe another theory, and I was going to go into this week anyway. I planned this out on Monday, and Glenn Beck actually did it on his radio show too. I want to go into a little bit deeper of a conversation than what he even had, because he has to go over things quickly. But let's take a look at Jim Carrey in this interview first, and then I want to show you another video too. So let's take a look at that.
Say, Jim Carrey. Yes.
What?
I've covered a lot of fashion weeks. This is the first time I've run into Jim Carrey. Wait, tell me, is it true you're wandering the streets? You need a date to the party? What's up?
No. I'm doing just fine. I just, there's no meaning to any of this. So I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am.
They're celebrating.
You got to admit it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating
Do you believe
icons.
in
Boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming, possibility that we could come up with. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
You don't believe certain icons have the power to make change, to think differently, to be bold, to inspire others? Artistry? You're one of them.
On the good foot. Ha! Yeah. You shut it down now. Yeah, no, I don't believe in icons. I don't believe in personalities. I believe that peace lies beyond personality, beyond invention and disguise, beyond the red S that you wear on your chest that makes bullets bounce off. I believe that it's deeper than that. I believe we're a field of energy dancing for itself. And I don't care.
But Jim, you got really dressed up for the occasion. You look good.
No, I didn't.
Was that an
get dressed
accident?
up. I didn't get dressed up.
Who did?
There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream?
There's just things happening. And there are clusters of tetrahedrons moving around together.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's happening in our world right now? Because there is a lot of news that actually is relevant that's not that
Here's
uplifting.
the thing. It's not our world.
None
That's
of this
the
is
key.
real?
Nope.
So you're just passing
We don't
through.
matter. We don't matter.
Oh, wow.
There's the good news.
Okay.
Lots of stuff going on there, right? I'm going to say this. He was saying things along a religious line.
Mm-hmm.
He was also saying things about these type of events, these award shows and everything, that I've been saying for years, which is these self-patting on the backs celebrities and stuff like that go to these award shows, and it's panels of people that pick out the winners, usually in almost every case, where they're just patting each other on the back for doing a good job of pretending to be someone actually more important than who they are.
Yeah.
Have you seen Jerry Seinfeld's
I was just,
acceptance speech?
No.
Jerry Seinfeld? Yeah, we'll find the
Everything
clip
you're
and you
saying,
put it in here.
He said it as he's accepting the award to the people in the audience.
Awesome.
Your whole career as a comedian is about making fun of pretentious, high-minded, self-congratulatory BS events like this one. The whole feeling in this room of reverence and honoring is the exact opposite of everything I have wanted my life to be about. I really don't want to be up here. I feel very, very honored, but it's just that awards are stupid. It's all a big jerk-off. It is. Because awards don't mean a damn thing. It's stupid. They're all stupid. All the award shows on TV. I mean, honestly, it is beyond me that we feel the need to set aside a night to give out these jag-off bowling trophies 6 times a year so all these people can pat each other on the back about how much money they're making boring the piss out of half the world. And if I hadn't already won all these awards, I would not be talking like this. I'm just, sick of all these actors and, I don't know why we're so fascinated with actors in this culture. They haven't got a thought in their stupid bedhead, hairdo, mini brains. Why? We must honor this man. Why? He pretended to be Bob Johnson. He's a genius, I tell you. It's genius what he's doing. Playing dress up and pretend is not genius, ladies and gentlemen. It's not genius. Roll the cameras, put on these clothes, stand there, ready, say what we told you to say. Fantastic. He did it. Give this man a huge golden trophy. He's a damn genius.
That's awesome.
Great. Yeah, we're looking up.
Yeah, I will look at that.
Yeah.
But also, I've also said in the past, you really want to do an award show like that? Do it for our military. Throw up people that have done actual good things for this country and give them awards in front of America.
I think the thing is, I think a lot of the military, I mean, kind of going off of your initial response, I'm just seeing and knowing my friend Eric that I told you about too, those are the kind of people that don't want that.
Probably not.
That kind of thing,
but in regards to actually warranting something.
Oh, yeah, they're warranted.
Even the awards you get from the military are...
Okay. Well, so he's going into this. He's talking about the award show being meaningless. He's talking about that. He talks a little bit more about non-existence and you're not really here and none of this matters. And, essentially, in a grand scheme of things, if you are a religious person figuring things out, you're like, yeah, this is but as my pastor always says, but a whiff, like the life here and everything. It's but a puff of air. And then the eternity is what you focus on because that's where everything really is. And
in that same direction, he did just suffer a loss.
Yes, and I was going to go into that, but if you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome to.
Were you going to go into what's going on legally?
Yeah,
as a result of that?
Yep.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know it, but go ahead.
Oh, well, I just know that he suffered a loss. It was a suicide, correct? It was his girlfriend at the time. And I know that the family, I believe it's the brother?
The mother.
Of the girl is suing him. Mm-hmm. And I can only imagine... That's the one side of me that says that looks at that and goes, well, maybe because of that he found something spiritual or religious, or he might be very depressed and actually having some sort of breakdown. There's an actual catalyst there.
Yeah.
Yes.
That could,
and that video alone would question me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he's right. So essentially, what happened is they broke up. She somehow got her hands on multiple medications that were high grade, Percocet, what Michael Jackson died from, propofol or something like that, and a couple other things. And she put on Twitter "This is the end. I hope I was a light to the world" or something like that, and took all these pills and died.
Yep.
Her mother is suing him, and I think it's still an ongoing case. Because she believes that Carrey actually provided her the pills. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, I agree with Brant. This video alone would have me questioning, is he finding faith in the darkest of times? And I believe that most people come to faith at the darkest hour and hitting rock bottom a lot of times. I know certainly I'm going to get a little, personal on this, but when I had cancer and I was in the hospital, I realized that there's a fork in the road that people can take, which is you can either blame God, like all the people that say, well, if God really existed, how could he let children die or people get cancer or wars happen and stuff like that? To which I would say, and I'm not going to get, pastors would rip me apart for this, I'm sure. But listen, if we lived in a utopia and had nothing to complain about, when people are at their highest points, they are not thankful for what's going on around them, typically. And they wouldn't know who to thank for a perfect world that we live in. And we are often reminded that evil does exist in the world, and we need to cry out for help to God sometimes in our darkest hours. Now, that being said, you can either turn away from God and say, why would you do this? Why would you forsake me, as Jesus did and everything? And say, if God existed, he wouldn't allow this to happen anyway. Or, in my case, I sat there in my room thinking to myself, okay, God, if I'm alive right now and I'm sitting in this bed, what do you need to use me for? And often you won't get an answer like you want it to, which is a voice in your ear, but things fall into place over time, and you realize that a plan is put out for you if you're paying attention, that there are no coincidences, right? And I think that sounds spacey. I understand that can sound spacey, but that's kind of what Jim is doing here, right?
Putting another perspective on the same thing you're saying, there was a sermon that I listened to that a friend of mine, Pastor Mike, put out about a year ago, maybe two, called, God didn't actually say that. Things that we commonly, right. And one of them was, God never gives you more than you can handle. And the message that day was more or less that God frequently gives us more than we can handle because it forces you to rely on and lean on God.
Yep.
And so, why do bad things happen? There's a combination of free will. I think there's, original sin plays a huge part of it. And also, we're frequently given more than we can handle, so that we lean on God. But people don't always lean on God. And that leads to human evil things.
Yeah. So, what I was going back to here is the fact that this interview could be taken out of context on its own. But within the last 2 weeks, there was another video that came out on Jim Carrey. And I don't know the specifics on this, but I believe he went to a group of people that are ex-prisoners that are trying to rehabilitate themselves and come together and actually work on becoming better and parts of society.
Yep.
Wait till you hear what he says in this one. So let's take a look at that real quick.
And I want to speak to the fact that I believe that this room is filled with God, and that you are heroes to me, and I admire you. Because when you step through these doors, you decide to be a part of this family, you've made a decision to transcend and to leave darkness behind. And it takes a champion to make that decision. And I really want to speak to the fact that I've had some challenges in the last couple of years myself. And ultimately, I believe that suffering leads to salvation. And in fact, it's the only way. That we have to somehow accept, not deny, but feel our suffering and feel our losses, and then we make one of two decisions. We either decide to go through the gate of resentment, which leads to vengeance, which leads to self-harm, which leads to harm to others, or we go through the gate of forgiveness, which leads to grace. And your being here is an indication that you've made that decision already. You've made the decision to walk through the gate of forgiveness to grace, just as Christ did on the cross. He suffered terribly, and he was broken by it to the point of doubt and a feeling of absolute abandonment, which all of you felt. And then there was a decision to be made. And the decision was to look upon the people who were causing that suffering, or the situation that was causing that suffering, with compassion and with forgiveness. And that's what opens the gates of heaven for all of us. So I wish that for all of you. I wish that for myself. I know that, no matter what I've suffered, most of you have suffered worse than that. But that's why I admire you, because you're here. And you will have grace, because this decision has been made. So I'm so glad to be with you and to be a part of this. Thank you, Father Greg. Thank you, John.
First off, weird to hear a celebrity talking like that.
Yes. Yeah. Have you seen... I'm just wondering now, because I haven't seen that before, and you have what's happening recently with Justin Bieber.
I haven't heard about it.
Well, he canceled his entire tour in the middle of the tour and started spending all the time at church. And the only person he's pretty much been seen out with public lately is his pastor. And he's been talking much the same way. It's even weirder to see two Hollywood figures.
Right. Yeah.
Large Hollywood figures.
Yep. You want to chime in, Al?
Well, I mean, that's the first I heard that, so that is pretty interesting.
That was deep. That was some deep stuff.
I was wondering for a minute there if he was just going to go spiritual, and then he went straight Jesus Christ.
He was talking about grace, forgiveness, about coming to salvation. Was one of the words that was used in there, and pretty amazing. Now, there was also recently released a statistic that we have now reached a point in the United States alone, not taking into consideration the world, that Christianity, people that claim to be Christians in the United States, is now below 50% and has been dropping over the years. Obviously, you can see that type of thing. And to go along with what you guys are talking about, we're seeing sparks of rejuvenation in circles that typically don't talk about that kind of stuff. Yeah. And, hey, if Trump took the country by surprise, certainly there could be a rejuvenation in religion as well. And I pray that does happen,
It's such a strange time, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Where, I mean, talk about a conflict where, everything in the media, the media as Hollywood is portrayed as so, anti. Well, I mean, what's the liberal devil now? It's the cisgendered white Christian male. So that's. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out.
Anything else on that, guys?
It's just weird to hear him talking like that.
But the other thing that you have to point out in this case is the fact that this is what the other video is what the media is focusing on and what everybody's talking about, because it leads to immediate conversations like you two jumped in by each other with, what is he doing? Is he having a mental breakdown, or is this method acting or whatever? But then you see that other video. Yeah. And you are both pausing during the video, and we're all catching each other's glances during it, and something else is going on there, and something for the good.
You know what irritates me?
Well, there's a lot that irritates.
I saw the first video. All right. Show of hands. Who saw the first video before we watched it tonight?
I did. I heard it on actually a sports talk radio. Yeah. They were playing it.
Yep.
How many people saw the second video before right now?
Yeah, me.
Why?
Why? Because
I want to bet there's 50 different. I bet you type in Jim Carrey and there's the first 50 of them are that first
absolutely.
video.
Yep.
Good luck finding that second one, because I guarantee you it's being buried by YouTube or Facebook or whoever else.
Yeah, absolutely is.
That's what irritates me.
Yeah, I happened to come across the God Talk video last week because there was one article. Usually it's a string of articles that all pertain to things because they're trending.
Yeah.
But it was one article that happened to pop up about Jim Carrey getting spiritual, and I happened to watch it. So I did see it, but yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, so let's keep on going on here. So that will actually transition us into some of the cultural topics that we're going to be hitting tonight, too, which is the first one being that Oprah will actually debut on 60 Minutes. I guess she's going to be running 60 Minutes now.
Huh.
Not actually running for 60 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
But, sorry, I had to go there. But on September 24th, she's actually going to... She's going to actually debut with a story on America's political divide. Okay, which I find fascinating because I said to Vanden when he got here, we started talking about what we're going to be going over tonight. And which you guys would have been able to be clued in on if you had gotten here earlier.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, so I was saying I find this interesting that she would be going over the political divide in America when she had her hands and head so far up the Obama's rear ends, and they could do no wrong at that point in time. She was part of that problem.
They said she's going to talk about the political divide. They didn't say she's not going to pick a side.
Yeah, this is going to go the way of that Vice story that just came out a couple weeks ago, which focused solely on the KKK white supremacists and not the Antifa people causing violence too.
How is that not, with the amount of signatures they have now, what's it up to? How has that not been declared a terrorist organization?
I think they all should be. Everyone, all those groups.
There's actually a whole movement, specifically on Antifa, and they were getting pretty close to the amount of signatures that they need to for the state government to be required to take them seriously.
Well, it blew everyone's mind when Nancy Pelosi came out and said that they're no good anymore.
I was actually watching, leading up to, and we're going to talk about Ben Shapiro later on, but leading up to his appearance at Berkeley, he was on a couple of shows, and I think it was on HLN, and there was a panel, and he said, how Antifa is pretty much a terrorist organization, and there was one liberal on the panel who was like, I wouldn't classify them as a terrorist organization. The guy right next to him goes, they use violence to push their political ideas and also stifle opposing political ideas. That pretty much is the definition of terrorism.
Yeah, but let's keep in mind, too, that a lot of people think that this violence on the left is something new. Mm-hmm. But you can go back to the Weather Underground in the 60s and 70s that were trying to blow up government buildings as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is not something new. It's a trend that comes in waves, and it happens to come when certain opposing powers are in office.
Yeah.
And you have the same thing on the other side, too. Like, you had, when Obama was in office, the extreme, those that would identify with the right, which I wouldn't, because I think we went over in some of the last podcasts that those that identify with white nationalism or white supremacy don't believe in the Constitution.
Of course,
And if you're a Nazi or believe in Nazi stuff, we are the party that cheers defeating the Nazis.
Yeah.
And back-to-back World War II, World War champs.
I love when they call Ben Shapiro a Nazi, as he's there with his yarmulke on.
If there's one thing, too, especially seeing Charlottesville and the Vice story and everything, it seems like a lot of the white nationalists and neo-Nazis, their main target is still Jewish people. More than anything else.
It was more than anything else in this case.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Muslim... Oh, no, wait, never mind.
Chris Cantwell, in that interview when he was sitting with the Vice woman, said that he can't believe that Donald Trump would allow his beautiful daughter to be with a Jew bastard.
Yep.
And went off on that, And wow. I mean, that's what he was going after. Trump wasn't racist enough in this guy's mind.
Yep, that's what he said. Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get back to Oprah here. So in January, it was announced that Oprah Winfrey was joining Sunday News Magazine's 60 Minutes as a contributor. Oh, okay, so she's not leading it. It has since been revealed that Oprah's first story will air.
She's not running it even. She's not running it even figuratively.
Which I actually find fascinating, because when has Oprah gotten involved in something that she wasn't in charge of?
Yeah, right.
But that leads to something else I wanted to bring up tonight.
The zero is changed to an O.
As much as I
still watching Oprah.
As much as I don't like Oprah and her political views, I respect the hell out of that woman for what she has achieved in her life being an entrepreneur.
Sure.
She's still considered one of the top 5 richest people in the world.
Yeah.
With her empire that she has built.
Yeah.
There is no arguing what she has accomplished. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this story that she's coming out with is actually 60 Minutes 50th season. That's pretty crazy. That's been on that long. And that will be on September 24th. Her first story is about America's political divide. She was spotted filming a story in Grand Rapids, Michigan last month. She said, oh, no, this is what she said.
Dearborn.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. What we're setting out to do is conquer the divide in America, try to understand it better, try to shed some light on where these differences lie. Jeff Fager, the show's executive producer, told Vogue, I think a lot of people now realize that this was one of the great missed stories of our generation, that there is so much bitterness in America today, and we really need it. We really see it as something that Oprah can help us better understand, and by doing that, hopefully narrow that divide and start us talking again. I'm going to say this quick, and then I'm going to cut to you guys, and you guys can chime in whenever you want. But I keep on saying, those that are in power, whether that's politicians, industry leaders, or anything else, divide this nation by spotlighting our differences. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the saying has been for quite a while now, decades, if not longer, that talking about religion and politics is taboo in public, right? But I truly believe that if we were to openly talk about that in a civilized way, we would realize that we have a lot more in common than we have in differences. And those people that are trying to divide us using those things start to lose their power over us. And that divide becomes smaller.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when you consider the people, even that you disagree with politically, or when you don't talk about that stuff, there's so much more that we agree on, or that we have in common, or that just the way you live your life, how you treat other people. All that stuff is kind of common for most people. But yeah, especially when you have media run the way it is, where they focus on the fringe extremes of both sides and kind of use that as a paintbrush to paint. Okay, everyone who is conservative is an alt-right, neo-Nazi, misogynist, racist, and everyone who is liberal is a leftist, social justice warrior, snowflake, crybaby, anti-fascist, looter.
Yep.
And that's kind of the media is even more, probably more so now than politicians are just kind of pushing us more and more apart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Anything to say on that, Elon?
Well, yeah, I think, just like you said, I think that just kind of fuels the fire when you're just talking about it all the time. I think Morgan Freeman, I forget who was on an interview.
With Don Lemon.
Yeah.
How do you stop racism?
Yeah.
Stop
talking about it.
You are no longer, you are not a white man.
And
I am not a black man. I'm Morgan Freeman.
There was like a meme about hop in my car, we're going to smoke some weed and narrate some crap.
Yeah. But I think he really said, kind of said it best, why keep talking about it? And, I don't want to have a Black History Month, and I forget. Yeah. And then he said that, do you want a White History Month? He's like, well, I'm Jewish. Okay, well, do you want a Jewish History
Morgan
Month?
Freeman's Jewish?
Yeah. No. He was saying I think it was Charlie Rose.
I forget who.
Great interview.
Yeah, I forget who was interviewing him. But, I'm sure you could.
No, he's like, do you want to? I don't want to.
So he was still talking about it. So.
No, that's fine. But I just think it adds more fuel to the fire to bring it up. So I don't know what is 60 Minutes. Is there ratings down that she's coming back? I mean, or she just wants to.
I don't know. You know what gets me though is the fact that every is it O magazine?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called, or is it called?
She's
Oprah?
On the cover.
Yeah, she's on the cover of every single mag.
Yeah.
I mean, she's.
I guess her name's on it, right? So she should be.
Or even like her network channel owned is the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Is it Oxygen?
Or is that its own? It's its own thing.
Oprah Winfrey Network.
Yeah, no pun intended. I think that with all the divide stuff going on and everything else and points of views and stuff, I do think the one thing that's not being really considered enough is, because I think even our generation, still being millennials and older, look at the all these young kids, that are being taught, that everything is fluid and there's no, and it's just there's everything is just fluid, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no black, there's no white, there's no middle ground. It's just, and we still, I catch myself kind of thinking about it like, oh, it's just the college students, that's normal. These kids that were being taught that way, they're getting to the age now where it's not really just college students anymore. It's a generation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's going to cause.
I have something that's been blowing my mind lately that I actually wanted to bring up, and it kind of goes off of what you're saying, so it's an appropriate time to bring it up. Where we're working right now, up north, my whole town that I'm in is Democrat, okay? But they almost exclusively, except for one or two people that I've met that were open about it, all voted for Trump. And these people love Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Like Democrats that have voted Democrat their whole life that voted for Trump. And these people are definitely out there. And there were a couple that are pretty dang racist and have said some really racist things. So the Democrats are fully capable of it too. So
that actually, so then not much has changed in the
history of the Democratic Party.
As according, I still have not seen. I want to see Dinesh D'Souza's film.
Oh, you haven't?
Not the newest one.
Oh,
where he talks about the
Big Lie.
No, that's his new book. Yeah. The last movie that came out was actually him talking about the Democrats' history of the KKK and everything.
He touched on that a lot at his...
Actually, The Big Lie is a lot about that, too.
Yeah. And he did touch on that a lot. And there was like this hour-long speech that he gave at some college that was organized by the conservative... that group that's...
Young Americans for
That's
Freedom.
it, yep. Mm-hmm. And... He touches on a lot of that stuff, and if I have a long drive, I'll hit it on YouTube and just let it play in the background.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, he's great. But it's always interesting looking back at the last administration for when Robert Byrd, the Democratic senator, died, who was like high up in the KKK, was being praised by Obama and Hillary as being a great person and everything he did, and you're like, are we really looking at history here? I mean, what is going on?
Well, and then somebody who came out and basically said, you can't get too down on him. You had to be in the KKK to make it in Washington back then. Somebody said that, and I think it was either Clinton or Obama. It was one or the other, But it was, basically like, oh, we're going to excuse this because if you were going to make it, you had to be, part of the group. I was like,
a necessary evil for success in Washington.
Apparently.
No, it was just like a fraternity, sorority.
So, a bunch of self-righteous celebrities actually got together and held a fundraiser to gather money to send to those affected by Hurricane Harvey in Houston, Texas. And of those celebrities was Stevie Wonder, who delivered a special prayer that ended up spotlighting more of an agenda than an actual spiritual prayer for the victims of the hurricane. So let's take a look at what Stevie Wonder had to say in his special prayer.
We've come together today to love on the people that have been devastated by the hurricanes. When love goes into action, it preferences no color of skin, no ethnicity, no religious beliefs, no sexual preferences, and no political persuasions. It just loves. As we should begin to love and value our planet, and anyone who believes that there is no such thing as global warming must be blind or unintelligent. Lord, please save us all.
Love, 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 love. You're an idiot. Basically is what Stevie Wonder is saying here.
No political affiliations, no differences. If you don't believe in what I believe in, you're an idiot.
Unintelligent or blind. Oh, pun intended, Mr. Stevie Wonder.
And was he praying for the people when he was saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, I just think that's kind of awful to do.
Like
you're
use
praying for a disaster.
Totally appropriate.
Yeah. Use the disaster and prayer to push your own political ideology.
Prayer for a movie plug.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just.
And by the way, go see Al Gore's new Inconvenient sequel.
And isn't the movie that is against that has had made more money?
I haven't even heard of the movie.
I thought
Do you know what it's called?
No, I don't. I was just reading that.
Oh man, there's probably good ones too.
A quick article about it.
Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I mean, he's just.
What about the guy who like started the Weather Channel coming out?
Oh yeah, that was years ago.
Yeah, but no. Recently, he came out and did interviews and basically said climate change is nonsense. There is no actual, and he even goes on to explain how. The people that are the scientists that are backing it up are receiving funding, and why they have to say a certain thing, you know what I mean, or they're going to get defunded.
That's what a lot of us has been saying for years, and it's infuriating. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, if we're talking about actual climate change and everything, I do believe that there's a miscommunication in how everything is approached in regards to taking care of the earth, right?
Yep.
Now, I may not believe that man is causing degrees of change in the CO2 and atmosphere and everything. But that's not to say that I believe in just taking your trash and throwing it out the window of your car. I believe in conservation efforts because I believe in taking care of what God gave us.
Nobody's saying that.
They are.
Well, right. But imagine if they took, this trying to reduce greenhouse gases and stuff like that, and stuff that's pretty much not proven. And you got scientists on one side that are just as adamant that it doesn't exist as it does, and use that energy to take care of the Texas-sized island of floating plastic in the Pacific.
Yeah, absolutely.
For instance, or the fact that you can't go into any river anywhere anymore, or you pretty much can't drink water that's not filtered anywhere anymore if it's not coming out of the ground. I mean, what you're saying, conservation was great, and that used to be the focus. Yeah. That when we were in school, Captain Planet, reduce, reuse, recycle, right? And
power of heart.
Yeah.
And all those people that were making probably some pretty legitimate change, right? All that's been taken away.
What's north of that plastic island?
Well, you have all the plastic that basically from all the currents swirls together, and then there's an actual island where like they did that documentary. We walk up and there's birds and they'll cut off the stomach and some bottle caps and everything else. It's like, let's not worry about that. Let's reduce our greenhouse gases.
Yeah,
You're 24 miles in the gallon. Get it down to 20.
Just south of Hawaii, right?
I thought it was like midway.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it has like a path that can actually.
I mean, if we were to just compact that stuff and incinerate it in the volcanoes of Hawaii, we'd be taking care of some problems here. I'm telling you. But Al Gore doesn't want to listen to me. He's not returning my phone calls. Al, why are you not calling me?
It'll burn the plastic and it'll increase our greenhouse gases. Can't have that.
Not if you incinerate it at high degrees.
He's got his
clean plastic.
You better watch out. You're making all kinds of sense.
So let's see here.
Our liberals just signed off.
What else is new? So I pissed someone off. Okay, here we go. Online dating site OKCupid tweeted that they are teaming up with Planned Parenthood. OKCupid's tweet had a picture that read, "I would never date someone who doesn't support Planned Parenthood. OKCupid makes it easy to find them." The message that accompanied this tweet read, "We're partnering with @PPFA to enable daters to find folks who support #Planned Parenthood with #IStandWithPP profile badges." So is this a new wave of no-regret dating? Isn't it kind of taking care of the problem, so to speak, beforehand? Hey, you believe in Planned Parenthood too? Good, let's have some unprotected sex and just go for it then.
Yeah.
Nothing
to worry about.
That is some downright dirty crap right there, as far as I'm concerned.
Albeit brilliant marketing.
Yeah, if you look at it from a marketing perspective.
Yeah, very good.
All right, don't get so excited over your vanity.
Yeah, what was that? I have that app on my phone. I got 3 hits. 3 hits are close to me.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
It's like, So, I mean, what do you think of this?
I guess it's good. It's good to know who to stay away from. They got the badge on there, So, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we talked about it with the Tinder thing. How it's basically just making it easy to hook up with people and stuff, and the people just wanting to feel more and more comfortable with not dealing with the repercussions of their actions.
What I think probably happened here in the beginning was, a team gets together, probably a marketing team that works for the dating website, and says, "All right, we're losing to this, and this. We used to be up here, now we're down here. All right, what can we do?" And I think it's probably just the first dating app, and to try to tap into the emotions, of the culture and all the social issues going on today. Just like they, look what happens when you're a politician and you find a way to tap into that. You get elected president. So,
anything at all?
No, not really much to that. I mean, I think I agree with Brent. I think I never heard of that app before. I haven't heard of a lot of apps, but I think that it's a way to stick out from the crowd, and maybe now we'll get a couple more 100,000 people to download it and try it. So,
awful message, brilliant marketing.
Yeah, we're actually going to play 2 portions of Q&A questions from Ben Shapiro. One's in regards to DACA that Mike wanted me to throw in here, and the other one's in regards to abortion, which there were actually 2 abortion questions.
Yeah, which one did you... Was it the girl?
No, the guy.
Oh, okay.
Can I stab you in your sleep?
Yes, that was you too.
The girl one's one where he's like, I mostly just care. I don't care if you want to, donate your kidney or your liver. I pretty much just draw the line of killing babies.
Yeah.
No problem with that.
Yeah, he goes over some really great points with that. But yeah, I personally, I think this is, you're right. The marketing, as a marketer myself, I can understand how this looks like a brilliant marketing strategy. But at the same time, I have to worry that it is promoting a jump in those statistics.
Well, it absolutely is, but I think that was the intention, and unfortunately, I bet it's probably going to meet the level of success they were hoping it would.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of organizations and people out there are struggling to battle against this idea of the Republicans trying to defund Planned Parenthood, and it's that movement alone has gained a lot of steam, and it has a lot to do with. Believe it or not, science and technology actually showing what happens to a baby when it's aborted. And these undercover things from Project Veritas have come out. Terrible. I mean, it's spotlighting the sickness that's in our society that goes along with this kind of stuff.
I think the thing that, and I'm always saying the thing that bothers me, but the thing that would bother me the most about that is, whether they realize they're doing it or not, maybe they are, I don't know. But they are further solidifying the idea of the divide in this country by saying there is an us versus them thing, and you don't want us being with them, so why don't all the us's get over here, right, and separate ourselves from the thems, and we'll have their own little dating website here and it's furthering. It's
its own type of segregation on the website.
It's either furthering the divisiveness or it's spotlighting it.
Yeah,
one or
absolutely.
The other.
You're right. Yeah, like they basically want you to say that if you're on the website and you're looking through dating profiles, if they don't have a Planned Parenthood badge on the profile, you probably wouldn't match up with that person. Now, how true is that really? You know what I mean? Because honestly, I don't think a lot of people, I've said this before, I think a lot of people that have had abortions at younger ages feel a need to defend their action, even living with their own regrets on it.
Yeah.
And I believe that happens a lot. But more so than that, I believe that there's a lot of people that probably went with those friends to help them be a shoulder to cry on or be there as a hand of support, that then they also need to feel like they need to defend it because they partook in supporting that friend for what they have done. But they're not undergoing those emotional circumstances that they have to deal with, right? So there's a lot of people out there that may put a badge on their profile picture that says that they support Planned Parenthood, but have never had any experience.
But you know what that is? They're causing bumper sticker marketing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which works.
It does, yes.
If they can get people who do or don't to start plastering, I support Planned Parenthood all over the place just so they can get matched with a girl.
Yeah.
It's bumper sticker marketing. They're putting the support, they're...
Yep. Okay, so this is pretty funny, actually. I got a kick out of this. Another place that we've been ripping into over the past couple months has been Google. So, according to the Daily Mail, 3 female former Google engineers are suing the tech giant for paying women less. The company of diversity, of course, is giving them worse career tracks and not trusting them with prestigious programming jobs. So Kelly Ellis, Holly Peace, and Kelly Wasuri said that Google favors male employees. They said that men were given more pay, better job titles, and better career tracks. Their suit says that Google also gave heavier programming jobs to men and not women. And they're suing on behalf of all women at Google over the last 4 years. And the suit demands money back as well as a slice of Google's profits. Google denies all claims and says employee promotion process is rigorous. So, we were talking... Were we talking during this podcast about the manifesto and everything from Google?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they do you remember what was the lawsuit that they just lost overseas, and what was that for? Do you know?
Oh, we talked about it. I don't remember it, though.
It was for millions, if not billions.
It was huge. It was like the biggest, wasn't it like 2-point-something billion?
Yeah.
I forget what it was for. We talked about it, thoe.
Yeah. So they are already losing suits and everything. Now,
wasn't there for like Monopoly?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't remember.
Honestly, I don't know if we talked about it, but we certainly brought up the lawsuit maybe in regards to things. But, here you have a company talking about diversity and firing a guy who just gave some simple solutions on how to be better with diversity. Didn't say anything sexist, although that's not what you're going to hear in the media.
Nope, not at all.
And they get caught with their own pants down with a sex robot scandal.
Right.
Basically. I mean, it's like they're paying their own people less. They're not diverse. They're hypocrites. And that's what we're seeing a lot of.
Yeah. I almost wonder, like, how long this lawsuit might have been kind of in the works, or if they fear it coming, and they fired that guy. It's kind of like a preemptive strike to say, no, we are all for diversity, So, I mean, I don't know, but it would make sense.
I think what makes the whole male versus female pay comparison just hard in general is to really make it right. First you have to eliminate the male-female, component and put everything on a level playing field so that you can actually see who comes out the other end. Now you can look at the numbers. All right, now re-separate them and see how many men, male or female. So, if you have, 5 females over here with, just out of college, with no real experience or anything like that, and you got 5 over, guys over here that are 15-year veterans that have been, coding for the last, 20 years. It's not really in
no.
And
they've increased the
right. Same thing with Hollywood. That's who's a new female actor?
Scarlett Johansson.
Right. So
Jennifer Lawrence is the one that complained about it. She's the one who complained about it.
Jennifer Lawrence, right, not getting paid as much as Denzel Washington. Mm-hmm. Well, duh.
Yeah.
And vice versa. It could be who's the Garfield guy that played Spider-Man?
Yeah, Andrew Garfield versus like Julia Roberts.
Or Meryl Streep. Duh. But you don't see it going.
No.
Nope. And so I think that argument's just really hard to have because the data is always going to be off because nobody's taking the time to really properly
compare
do
apples to apples,
a scientific data.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, science doesn't much matter anymore, right? It's all about how you feel.
Or statistics or facts, yeah. Anything on that before we go?
Well, I guess, I guess we don't know, how long have they been there, how long have they actually been working for the company, how good are they at what they're actually claiming, or they just want to get promoted to a high level of pay without actually really contributing or earning it.
So essentially what you guys are saying is this lawsuit itself might be BS too, because
if the conservative side of things, and speakers especially, that argue against the wage gap actually existing for those reasons are going to make that argument, then as much as it cringes me to say it applies to both sides. So I would say until they come out with some sort of actual evidence that that's taking place, it's probably BS. Google's probably not actually doing that.
Okay.
Although I hope they are, and I hope they get caught, and I hope they lose.
Yeah. It would be nice to knock them down a peg or two. Okay, so have you guys caught any of the Miss America pageant this year?
Zero.
Heard anything about it?
I don't know if I've ever actually seen
it.
I've caught the same exact amount of it this year as I have for the past 15 or 20 years.
Well, they went
nothing.
Really political. Well, it used to be Trump.
I know, but I'm saying that's what I mean. Who runs it now? It's still true.
No, don't tell me that. I was going to say it's probably someone very opposite.
Steve Harvey just announces the winner.
I know.
Yeah.
Twice.
I think I don't know who it is, but they certainly don't like Trump. So let's take a look at one of the questions from the pageant.
Last month, a demonstration of neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and the KKK in Charlottesville, Virginia, turned violent and a counter-protester was killed. The president said there was shared blame with, quote, very fine people on both sides. Were there? Tell me yes or no and explain.
I think that the white supremacist issue, it was very obvious that it was a terrorist attack. And I think that President Donald Trump should have made a statement earlier addressing the fact and making sure all Americans feel safe in this country. That is the number one issue right now.
Thank you very much. That was Miss Texas, by the way.
Without her Antifa mask. Okay.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. She's right. I also believe, and I think that the KKK is considered a terrorist organization.
They are.
Yeah.
Terrorists?
If not, they should be.
Yeah.
That's
sure they're on
I'll leave
every
it at
watch
that.
list, not a man.
But again, this is a one-sided equation. They're not looking at the other side. And as we mentioned in the last podcast, we have a media now and judges apparently at a freaking beauty pageant. They're trying to focus us into these two groups when most of Americans fall well out of range of both of those groups. Yeah. They are not part of those groups. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the only reason I kind of hesitated about being a terrorist, because I know they still get police escorts when they do their parades and stuff, and I'm pretty sure a terrorist organization doesn't get that. I don't think.
For the KKK?
Yeah. Like, if they went to a demonstration, the police will still, like, escort them and let them do their whatever they do.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, because there has to be protection from public rioting and
well, I'm pretty sure if I just said, hey, cops, I want to march down the street and
that's a tough one. Because, honestly, as long as they're not doing harm, if they're citizens in the United States, they have the right to do that. Free speech wise.
Well, free speech wise, I understand that, but if they're classified as a terrorist organization, you know, again, that
yeah, because you'd have to be caught actually doing something in order to be arrested for it.
So, are there no caveats when you've been declared a terrorist by?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I honestly don't know.
I'm going to say I believe that there would be, or that there is.
Okay,
but I'm going to find out. If I find out, I'm going to ask you after I research it.
Okay, so there was actually another question, too, that went along with this. And Mike and I have talked about this topic in the past, too.
195 countries signed the Paris Agreement, in which each country sets non-binding goals to reduce man-made climate change. The U.S. is withdrawing from the agreement, citing negligible environmental effects and negative economic impact. Good decision? Bad decision? Which is it and why?
I do believe it's a bad decision. Once we reject that, thank you. Once we reject that, we take ourselves out of the negotiation table, and that's something that we really need to keep in mind. There is evidence that climate change is existing, so whether you believe it or not, we need to be at that table, and I think it's just a bad decision on behalf of the United States. Thank you.
Well,
I sent it to America. I'm going to change.
Remember when I sent you the copy of because I found it?
Of what?
The whole Paris Agreement?
Oh, yeah.
The whole accord? Okay. And I know you read it. I read it. It's 90% us just giving buttloads of money to other countries without them being responsible for actually doing anything.
It's actually non-binding. No one's responsible. It's basically a bunch of people from a bunch of countries getting together every couple of years saying, this is our goal. And then the next time they meet, did you reach your goal? No, I did not. Okay, let's make a new goal. Yeah. And that is literally it. It has nothing. There's nothing that binds you to, okay, if you didn't meet your goal, you have to do this.
I think it was just a political excuse to be able to move money from one country to another.
Oh, yeah,
and have a reason to justify it. Because they were sitting here talking about us sending an absurd amount of money to China for, I don't know, something they were going to do. And literally at the time when they were doing the Paris, their economy was doing better than ours. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, fiscally.
Meanwhile, China's dumping tons of stuff into the ocean.
Oh, not only that, their citizens are wearing surgical masks out in public.
Yeah.
The smog's so bad.
The bird flu over there. They're horrible.
I just think it's funny that she's saying there is evidence of that. You know, what evidence has she seen or research has she done to
see? You guys
speeches.
You guys are kind of going off track with what the Paris Accords are and everything. The real story here is the real story here is why is anyone caring what these bikini-clad nitwits from each state are talking about any of these topics? And
Miss North Dakota, you looked fabulous in your bikini. Tell me, if you were to quell the violence in America today between all these groups that are battling each other, how would you do it? What policies would you institute? Was she running for the presidency?
What
the heck is going on?
It's also like they're asking all these like very pointed kind of guided questions towards a liberal agenda, and the liberalism's all about equality.
Can you imagine how ostracized one of them would be? It's like you hear from everybody, and all of a sudden, all right, Miss Texas. And all of a sudden,
she was actually
said, well, here's the policies that would change, and here's why they're going to work, and here's the.
But they're guiding them towards this liberal thing. But then it's like, okay, now let's forget all the equality stuff. Go walk around in your bikini. Just do a couple of spins. Let us see that
DJ
ass.
hit it.
And then,
They definitely had very quick answers to those.
And you have 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds to answer because we really don't care what you're about to say, but just go ahead and say
Miss
it.
Hawaii, how do you feel about Aleppo?
I think they're the cutest animals.
Is that Gary Johnson in a bikini?
The animal should be freed from the zoo.
That's the new Greek yogurt.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's go back to some interesting topics. So according to the Daily Mail, a fake porn producer got 10 years in prison for duping 24 women into having sex with him under the guise of film auditions.
That a little while.
Talk about that marketing again, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to throw in here? So Maria Ambrose Antoine, 34. He's our age. Or, sorry, our age. You're of Missouri pleaded guilty in May to wire fraud in an elaborate 5-year scheme. Sorry. I was just thinking when I was reading that, and that's why I went off course, was I got to throw up on the monitor here in the YouTube version this guy's mugshot. He has the creepiest grin of like, yeah, I did it. it's so bad. It's like, yeah, you caught me. And it's almost like he's looking at the cops behind the camera like, you know you want to too. I got you. I got plans.
You wish you thought of this.
It's so bad. He's such a creep. So Antoine posed as a talent agent with pornography and adult modeling agencies bearing names like Playboy Worldwide, and Playboy Asia. He convinced cash-strapped women he contacted on Facebook to have sex with him on camera as an audition for porn roles. If they complained about not getting paid, he would send photos or videos of them to their employers or boyfriends.
Oh, that's where they got him on the wire for
extra skeevy.
Yeah, exactly. He promised more than 24 victims between $550,000 to $1.5 million after having them sign what they thought was legitimate contracts for jobs with his companies, according to the Kansas City Star. The now convicted con man used to operate a wedding photography business for which he was found guilty of stealing by deceit and unlawful merchandising practices and spent almost a year in prison. He reportedly sold wedding packages to brides but never showed up to take their photos.
Nice guy.
So now he is showing up to take photos. And just not following through with the rest of the stuff.
Yeah,
So.
a lot of new revenge porn laws on the books
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I would imagine if not for just the fraud, that any of those would put him away for a pretty good amount.
I mean, if this guy would just get into like sci-fi movie making and do the sex robot story into his own incorporation, we might have a filmmaker on our hands. But yeah, this guy's a creep. I mean, I'm gonna have this picture just floating up here.
Oh my god!
As we're talking about it here, so skeevy guys out there, obviously. Speaking of skeevy guys, Anthony Weiner.
All right.
who
Just
came
will
clean.
not go away.
No, he will not. He comes clean, admitted to a Skype and Snapchat session with a girl who was 15 and sexting relationships with hundreds of women whose ages span decades. The court documents filed by Anthony Weiner's lawyers reveal the extent of his sexting for the first time. He actually admitted that he had 2 Skype and 1 Snapchat session with the 15-year-old victim of his sexting. He admits hundreds of other sexting relationships, exchanging about 1,500 explicit messages with one middle-aged woman alone at the time of his crime. In the same 3-month spree, when he sexted the 15-year-old, he kept up sexting relationships with 19 adult women. Court documents also showed he started his sexting relationship with a minor, which was revealed by DailyMail.com during a record blizzard. But says he couldn't go to prison because he has already been punished, including by being blamed for Hillary Clinton's election defeat. His wife, Uma Abedin,
it's like a whole club of people that
there's a new secret handshake.
Yeah.
Uma Abedin knew his secret before the public first in 2011, and the paper suggests that she still pleaded for him to be sentenced leniently. I don't know. First of all, look. Talk about a skeevy guy. I don't know if you guys noticed, but some of the pictures he took that with his shirt off and his underwear and stuff like that he sent to the 15-year-old had his son sleeping next to him, like a toddler.
God.
Right? So this guy...
Oh, he was around.
Yeah.
Man, just when you think that my opinion of Anthony Weiner can't get any lower, you just drop that bomb on me.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, and on top of that, but what runs through my mind in a story like this is like Uma Abedin. Like, how the hell do you keep on sticking by this guy's side and, like, supporting him?
Yeah.
The guy looks like an old Pauly Shore.
When your role model is Hillary
exactly
Clinton.
Like Pauly Shore. And, evil as she may be, Uma is not an unattractive woman. How the heck did that happen, period?
Yeah.
Much less, how did he hold on to her?
Yeah.
Like,
and in his selfie pictures, it always looks like a surprised bird.
I mean, the guy's clearly a predator.
He is.
He needs to be locked up.
Did anybody ever see the Weiner documentary?
I saw parts of it.
Yeah,
so weird.
I heard it's on Netflix.
That's what I
right?
made note of. Like, this whole article starts
It was like
with, he read it differently. Weiner comes clean.
Yeah.
Wow, that's loaded.
Loaded.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. My jokes have some stiff competition around here.
Wow.
He's dying over here. What I was going to say was, this documentary is apparently on Netflix, and it is apparently like watching a train wreck.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he's trying to regain his, run for office again.
And and not only that, but, when that phone call comes into the office of, hey, this is about to hit the news that you're doing these things, Uma Abedin's in the room, and so are staffers and the documentary people.
Yep.
And they catch that whole scene on play.
Wow.
I keep on forgetting to add that to my list. I really want to watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like How to Make a Murderer watching.
Yeah.
How to make
it's
a
also
predator.
really awkward.
How to make a predator, yeah.
When he's doing a town hall or a press conference and he's not getting any questions about running for office, it's just all about his scandals and everything. It's so awkward.
And he
weird.
keeps on doing it to himself.
Yeah.
What I don't get is, we've all seen To Catch a Predator.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so just
Chris
for...
Hansen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chris Hansen.
Yeah, awesome show.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing
Why
at this
are you
house?
naked, Mike?
Why at this house?
All of those people go straight from that show to jail.
Yeah.
Just for having a conversation. A lot of them, no pictures.
Yeah.
Just a conversation with a fake underage person.
Yeah.
Right? About, that's inappropriate. Here's a guy, he's admitted, and they've proven, he said photos, and he is he even in trial?
I honestly don't know, but I think you made a really great point
hell?
there.
Yeah.
Power and money.
Did you want to prove that the government's corrupt? There you go.
Yep. Any more on any Weiner-related issues?
You were saying how does she stick by this guy? I mean, her role model is Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
You know, so she probably just sees, hey, if you have a politically, although in this case, it can't be politically advantageous to be married to Anthony Weiner.
No, I've always said, I've had people disagree with me, but I honestly believe that if Hillary Clinton had left Bill Clinton in the 90s, it would have looked bad then because marriage was still an institution that was respected in the 90s, barely holding on, but it was, as opposed to today. When she ran, I think she would have won for leaving, and the feminists would have propped her up as a hero for doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So, according to Campus Reform, a mysterious man trashed American flags from a 9/11 memorial at Columbia University College. Members of Columbia University College Republicans walked out of class on Monday afternoon to find a man removing the flags from their 9/11 memorial. These are
so I think I saw that.
Flags. Like postage card size flags, you know, on the little sticks. They put out a bunch of them in a, you're right, cemetery flags. Who said that?
Brandon.
Oh, sorry, am I boring you? No. Take over, please.
No,
you and I have had long weeks,
14-hour days.
Yeah, exactly. So the unidentified man removed a row of at least 50 flags, threw them in the trash, and went back for more. An angered Columbia University ROTC student recorded the event. He said, I ran over and asked him what he was doing and was laughed at with no proper response. I asked a nearby public safety officer what could be done, but he was well within his rights to protest, so I recorded the video. Several students and a local veteran removed the massive flags from the trash and planted them back in the ground. Within minutes, their numbers grew from 5 to 15 as passerbys pitched in to help. This event is by no means political, but a day of remembrance and tribute, especially to the first responders who gave up their lives in order to save others. We should never forget 9/11 and its legacy on our country. The club's memorial was part of Young Americans Foundation 9/11 Never Forget Project, a nationwide memorial dedicated to honoring the victims of radical Islam, with over 206 participating campus chapters. So when I posted on Facebook, when I actually posted this, victims of, not the victim. Is that what you're reading?
Yes.
Yeah, because
I get it now.
It sounds like radical Islam victims.
Right.
But it's not. It's victims of those groups. When I posted this, I posed a simple question, which was, in our heated environment, politically, with everything that's going on, can we not at least agree on remembering the event of 9/11 as something that on 9/12 we all came together? There was quiet. There was peace. There was people coming together and helping each other. People looking each other in the eyes maybe for the first time ever on the subways and stuff. And just this unity as Americans. What is there to protest about 9/11?
There's nothing, but I think what you're seeing, and I don't know how old this person was, but...
He was an older guy.
All right, well then, kind of a little bit off topic there, but I think a lot of what you're seeing are people that were, let's say, for instance, born that year, right, are now, pushing adulthood, or if not in adulthood.
Oh, you want to hear something crazy? The people that were born on 9/11 were still in war from that start, are now old enough to join the military to fight that same war.
All right, so, these are people that don't remember it, they look at that the same way, we looked at, the World War II.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, we recognize it was a real thing, but they don't have that real,
experience. They didn't witness it.
Oh, no.
Right.
Yeah.
They weren't present during it. So for them, it's history. Mm-hmm. And that coupled with the current political climate of that side of things, in that age group especially, and, there's just... it's just...
You have your mic there.
Sorry. I don't even think they understand, how absolutely awful they're being.
I know.
Because everything that they see on TV is telling them they should be supporting Islam, and,
There's actually a documentary on YouTube that's about 15 minutes long or something like that Tom Hanks narrated, and it's about, I forgot what it's called, but it's about the citizens in Jersey and New York and everything that took their boats and went over to the island and were evacuating people all day, getting them out of there. Mm-hmm. And it was the largest evacuation by sea ever.
Yeah.
Dunkirk just came out in the theaters. It took them 9 days to evacuate like 200-some-thousand people. And New Yorkers, they evacuated 500,000 in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
By just private citizen boats.
Yeah.
And there's an actual documentary that's narrated by Tom Hanks that's on YouTube that I really need to watch.
So I don't actually ask Tom Hanks to narrate that.
Yeah, Sully?
Well,
movie or what?
Castaway. Every time the man gets on a plane, it crashes.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
Yeah, seriously.
How old was the person that did that?
By looking at the picture, by looking at the picture, they don't have him identified right now or anything, as far as the last time I read as I was preparing this. But I would guess he's in his late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
No excuse for that.
No. Okay, so here's another interesting topic. According to the Oregonian, which Vannon here, his sister lives out in Portland.
Yeah,
so
Francesca just moved up there how many months ago?
Was that
ago.
recently?
Yeah.
Okay, so by the way, one of the videos that gets the most hits on my YouTube channel is still the Portland liberal that freaked out over the Confederate flag rug that was hanging up for sale.
Yeah.
So that's just funny to point out. But Portland police are about to end their practice of designating people as gang members because racism. So Portland police next month will end their more than 20-year-old practice of designating people as gang members or gang associates in response to strong community concerns about the labels that have disproportionately affected minorities. The Police Bureau recognizes that the gang designations have led to unintended consequences and served as lifelong barriers for those who have shunned the gang lifestyle, thug life, which is Shapiro right there.
Yeah.
We'll get to him, and tried to get jobs, said Acting Tactical Operations Captain Andy Shearer. What are you laughing at?
I just always picture those sunglasses coming down on Ben Shapiro's.
A review by Oregonian and Oregon Live reporter Carly Brousseau, it sounds like, last year found that of the 359 criminal gang affiliates flagged in Portland's database as of last summer, 81% were part of a racial or ethnic minority. She obtained the list, names removed, only after appealing the city's attempt to keep it from public view. Captain Mike Krantz said gang violence isn't going to go away. There are still crimes attributed to known gang sets. There are still criminal gang members. That doesn't go away because we don't have a gang designation. We're not pretending gang violence doesn't exist. We're just taking this one thing away. Why?
Because there aren't enough white gangs. So obviously, it's...
Yeah, but you know what happens when white gangs get together? They start those musicals.
I don't know.
Which could be more dangerous sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I'd have to read more into that because it sounds like what they're saying is that by, putting this label on a person on paper or something like that, it's inhibiting their ability to
get a job.
And then, and so
it exactly
perpetuates the cycle. I don't know that I disagree with that entirely.
Well, that it happens? No. It does happen, and that it affects them. Yes.
Even if
but we also need
100,
to move back and affect the culture in that dissuading these people, anyone of any color, to not join a freaking gang. I mean, how stupid is it?
Right,
that we have to have that argument.
Yeah, but it's not far-fetched to believe that a young 21-year-old gets sucked into that. You realize how much people mature. At a certain age, they're going to go, "This is stupid." You know what I mean? I'm saying, if there's the possibility that 5 out of 50, 5 out of 100, would have been able to reform and possibly made a change of lifestyle, both for them and future generations and their family, and this prohibits that, and they're willing to, continue attacking gang violence in general. I mean, whether you agree or disagree with it, is it the worst thing ever?
Should it be on a record that doesn't go public, in that it's at least kept that for known affiliations if something happens
let's be
in
real,
the future?
It is.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, there was a report put out that said that literally you are on a suspected gang list if you own a motorcycle. Like, that went out. So look, everybody knows, if you were in a gang, somebody somewhere knows who you are. It's not going anywhere. But, if they decide they want to reform themselves as they continue to be publicly ostracized, should we be creating an environment where they're stuck there? You're done. Can't vote, can't do this, can't do that. Oh, and by the way, you can't work. We're kind of perpetuating something, I don't think it's the worst thing ever.
Okay.
Well, so are they doing that to try to dissuade youths from going into a gang, or they're just changing the name of it?
No, I think it's more like, let's say I was a gang member in my 20s, and now I'm like, well, I was a liberal, and I was a gang member, and I was this, and I was that, and now I actually went to school, and I understand economics, and I have a family to support, and that was retarded, and I'm ready to turn my life around, and I'm going to go and apply for a job and work my way up the corporate ladder, and I go to get my job in the mailroom, and I can't get a job here, I can't get a job here, I can't get a job here, because public record says I'm a gang affiliate, and so I would try, screw it, this is where I belong. And I think it does lock you in.
Yeah.
It really does. And so, I'm not saying that it would make a big difference, but like I said, 1 out of 50, and every future possible generation, maybe they have they get successful enough to move, to become successful enough to move away from that area. Now that's affected future generations. And it, I don't know.
Did that question lead into something else that you wanted to say?
Well, I just didn't know if that. I haven't read that article or know what anything about the story. But so is that they're just trying to rename it to keep people out of?
No, they're just trying to take it off of their history reports.
You know how you're required to
history.
tell an employer if you're a felon?
Yeah.
That's not. Now this isn't taking that away. But let's say you were just affiliated with the gang. You belonged to the gang. Let's say you hadn't been convicted of a crime. But you still have, it's still there. They can't, it's a stain,
I mean, they don't ask you if you're a gang member on a job application.
No, but if
they can just tell by the bandana you're wearing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
or the signs you're throwing up, right? Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. I just think just renaming it isn't going to change things. I don't think too much.
I think
but
that's kind of a point that you were making.
It's not a big enough deal to make it a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe the intention at the very least is not terrible.
Yeah. Are we sure that is what the intention is, or
it's all
was
about
it
jobs? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then that does make sense. I mean, if it was one thing where
and not convicted of a felony.
Yeah. The community.
I was going to put that up.
Yeah. If it was just like, oh, the community saying, oh, it's a racial thing, and just forget this fact that I'm associated with this gang.
Wait. Let's go back a step here, because they are saying that it disproportionately affects the minority community from getting jobs. So it is a racial component along with a professional component that's mixed into that there. So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So you two believe that this is okay, that they should.
I see where they're coming from, because
it doesn't upset me.
Okay. Yeah. How about you? Do you think it's a good idea, or?
I think it's a good. I mean, if you get better and rehabilitate, I think you should have the same opportunity to.
Maybe there's a certain amount of things. Yes, I was just going to say that there should be a time frame, where that could be expunged off your record.
Yeah,
it's not like, okay, I was literally like the head enforcer of the Crips, and now all of a sudden you could just leave that off of my record for the immediate 1 or 2 years after I was convicted.
Or the Walshes. I mean,
yeah. Or the Walshes, the white gang, the local white gang. Yeah.
I see the hint of what maybe brought this up as a topic, which is just we need to, with minorities, we just need to do whatever it takes to, but.
No, I just kind of think, honestly.
I think on our side, we also, we're also making the argument that they can do, that capitalism will allow them to be successful, that they don't have to be trapped in this. And if that's going to be the case, then I think that our side needs to do whatever we realistically can or should to perpetuate allowing them to do that and not try to put up a roadblock.
Yeah, or another thing, too, we talked last week about that mayor that had facilitated jobs for homeless people. Maybe there's some kind of, instead of a welfare program or something like that, we have a program where we take kids that are affiliated with gangs, have some kind of job that they can that basically is being provided for them to do, and then by the city, or military service, and then you have go a year or two, and then that is stricken from your record. If you have a year or two clean working this job that was provided by the government, then you're
if
off your
nothing
record.
else, the crux of this argument is that gang violence typically destroys communities, right?
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying
It's
is a
minority
great
communities
idea.
a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think what you're saying is a great point in which that if they are put in charge as a profession for a year or two of cleaning up the types of things that they have done in the past in destroying their own communities and are actually being paid by the city to alleviate and correct those situations, then maybe we have something there that can expunge it off the record at that point.
And the other reason I can't get totally behind just getting it off of their record is because it takes away the taking responsibility for your decisions and your actions, especially if you're
But the decision was just affiliation. Again, we're not talking about taking somebody's criminal record away. That's not what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a felon and you happen to belong to this gang, you don't get to your felony's not wiped away.
That's still, I mean, my
it's
dad
just-
always said, "Tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are." So even though if you're not a criminal, but why are you affiliating yourself
but who
with
are your
gangs?
friends and why?
Yeah.
I know Vanny because we went to school together, and him because we went to school together, and we went to a school where gangs are really not a thing.
Yeah.
If I went to,
I didn't think racism was the thing either until people started telling me all the blue. At our school, I didn't think there was a problem, but Matt has told me, and apparently Nick, I won't say the last name, but he had problems and everything. I don't know if you experienced anything beyond what that one incident I talked to you about was, but it seemed like
maybe your head was in the sand.
Yeah. Well, out here it's in cow manure.
Yeah, it was in cow manure. But I don't know. I just don't think that program, whatever that, and I don't know everything about it, but again, this is a TV show. But when they show those kids on Beyond Scared Straight and stuff, very few of them actually end up being transformed when they go back and review. 6 months out of the program. Or a year out of the program, it's very hard to change someone's habits like that. So.
What I would ask myself is, who would be hurt by this program? And I think the answer is, in general.
Okay.
Who does it stand to negatively affect if they implement this program? And I think the
taking
answer is
away criminal,
just
gang
affiliation
stuff?
not criminal.
No,
Gang
taking away,
affiliations, right?
Taking that
they
off.
still have to. They're still on the hook for any criminal action they've been convicted of, but gang affiliation only. This little brother hung out with the older brother. Older brother went away, and he got caught up in it. I can see that happening. So, provided no criminal history, no criminal action, no convictions, who does it hurt or negatively affect if they implement that program? And I think the answer is no one. Now, who does it help? Maybe no one. Maybe very few. What if it's just one? Nobody gets hurt if they do it. Maybe one person out of 1,000. So is it worth it?
The glass is half full over here.
Well, look, you know me. I'm the first one to knock most of this stuff. But if there's nothing negative to aside from point of view and everything else, and people can talk about it and disagree with it. But if nobody's going to get hurt if they do it, and even one person can be helped if it does go through, it might possibly help that one person.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Okay. We good?
I don't think it's costing me my money.
Anything else to say about it?
It's not being funded by anything.
I disagree, but you have changed my mind a little bit on it because thinking of the negative aspect on things, like who does it negatively affect. I honestly can't think of anything, but I do believe in the affiliations of looking into incidents and stuff.
Sure.
Which you said
again, we're going back into criminal.
Yeah.
Criminal actions, and I don't think this addresses that. I think it's just I associated myself with this group, and I don't think it's hard to believe that somebody who associated with the group but didn't commit criminal actions or didn't get caught. Whatever.
I was just about to say,
but
didn't get caught.
But
That's
let's
also
assume
a thing.
let's assume they didn't, right?
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's the law,
Yeah.
I just think it could probably have a better chance of doing good than bad. That's
Okay. So who is familiar with the Hamilton Broadway show? Did you go see it?
I did not, but I'm very familiar.
Okay. Anybody else? No?
I just know about it.
I mean,
so you do know about it?
Yeah, I know about it. Yeah.
I just know about it from when the vice president was
Pence. Yeah.
That's the only thing I know about.
Got lectured.
So Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, Moana guy. And him.
Yeah, he was.
He's the writer, isn't he? Creator of that?
He wrote like all the songs and stuff and all the music.
Okay. So he's a very popular cultural icon, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
Now, even though icons are nothing.
Yeah, icons are not real.
Yeah, we do not exist.
Yeah.
So he was recognized for his accomplishments by Nancy Pelosi.
Mm.
And if nothing else, this clip is just hilarious because Lin-Manuel Miranda, his name is a little hard to pronounce if you go fast.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Nancy Pelosi had a little bit of a hard time a couple times. So let's take a look.
Okay, so here we are. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Lin-Manuel Miranda is the great creative talent. Lin-Manuel Miranda took the story of our founding and imbued it with a fresh life and infectious spirit. Lin-Manuel is continuing. Lin-Manuel, I am truly convinced we celebrate Lin-Manuel Miranda, a man gifted by the muse of history. Thank you, Lin-Manuel. Thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Thank you.
By the way, can you introduce me to Adele Dazeem?
That laugh at the end.
Oh, it was the most uncomfortable laugh. She's like,
say that 3 times fast, huh?
oh, she butchered it the whole time through. Like, how many times
did you say Madonna at the end?
Yeah,
Madonna.
Why did she try to keep saying it like over and over and
Lynn,
over?
I would just say Lynn.
Yeah.
You know?
Lynn, you did a great job, Lynn.
It's so bad. Like the best part is if you guys could have seen it from our point of view over here, how many times did her lower lip like drop like she was having a stroke?
It sounded like it.
So bad.
It sounded like it.
Oh. That was like a train wreck.
Well, I mean, anything concerning Nancy Pelosi is a train wreck. But,
Madonna.
So it didn't have to be a long discussion or anything. It was just a fun little video to make fun of her.
That was just for fun.
Yeah. So,
oh man,
let's go to Ben Shapiro. So talking about Ben Shapiro, he was actually at Berkeley last night. I watched the live stream because I was just waiting for stuff to go down. Police did a great job outside.
They didn't have stand down orders this time?
No, and they put up barriers all over the campus. Multiple protesters were arrested for weapons and stuff like that. So let's go to first of all.
What's going on? Campus police doing their jobs.
Yeah.
Hollywood celebrities finding Jesus.
Yeah. Possessed nuns from the 16th century. We're all over the place. Like sex robots.
Murderous.
Like if you took every topic and tried to make a movie out of it all, it would be one hell of a movie.
Yeah.
But okay, so Shapiro actually had a great speech.
Oh, it was great. Yeah.
I don't want to spend time dissecting that, but we are going to jump to the Q&A section.
The spoilers, I still have to watch it.
Yeah. We're going to jump to the Q&A section, which was fantastic. So let's go. We're going to tackle Mike's first, which was in regards to DACA.
Yep.
And what his thoughts are on that. So let's do that.
Hey, Ben, my name's Andrew. And since DACA's been making huge headlines throughout the whole nation, what do you think should we do now? Should have been repelled? Should they have made it something else better? Or should we continue having DACA?
I'm sorry, what was the
DACA.
Oh, DACA. Okay, so first of all, my position on immigration is I'm actually very libertarian on immigration, except for 2 factors. One is government payments that go to illegal immigrants, and the second is the cultural assimilation issue for people who come across the border illegally and aren't willing to assimilate into traditional American culture. Right? So these are two serious concerns. I'm not as concerned with the economics of illegal immigration in the sense that people who say we have to restrict our labor force in order to maintain a certain wage base, I don't think that's correct, because this is why you see companies that actually offshore and outsource, because they're looking for cheaper labor. It's always bewildering to me when conservatives say, well, we have to maintain a wage base by restricting the labor supply. Then why aren't you for raising the minimum wage? That does exactly the same thing. It restricts the labor supply and raises the wage base. So as far as DACA goes, my view on DACA is that people who are here illegally, whether they were born here or whether they were brought here as small children or not, should be assessed on a one-by-one judgment. So I am not in favor of the blanket swath amnesty for millions of people based on how long they've been here. I'm in favor of looking at people one-on-one and saying, okay, this person's in college and looks like they're going to have a career and hasn't been taking welfare dollars. This person looks like they're a good American, or they want to be a good American. Put them in the back of the line on a pathway to legalization. But if you're here, you've taken welfare dollars, you're not going to school, you're not bettering yourself, you're not going to be a productive part of American society, you haven't imbibed basic American cultural hallmarks, you do that, you should go. I have the exact same standard for people who are currently here illegally as the people who want to enter legally. I have the same exact standard, except if you're here illegally, you go to the back of the line, you wait behind the people who came here legally.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for answering the question.
Any thoughts on that?
Lots.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I always joke, that, after, especially when the border, the wall and the election was going on, my wife and I took 7 years to, make her a citizen, which she got last summer, and, come to find out, we could have just walked her into Mexico, jumped her across the border, and gotten her a driver's license and a Social Security number. But, no, I mean, I haven't read the doc, I haven't read DACA. I'm not intimately familiar with the program at all. I'm guessing it's kind of the
anchor babies.
Okay, it is that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really put much thought into it, to be honest with you. Maybe because I don't want to. Well, I mean,
ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, and a little bit, to be honest with you, because I think it would tug at me a little bit. Because I think that there are probably some legitimate parts of the argument that I don't have an answer to, and so I don't want to have the debate. Because I don't know if I could win it, to be honest. What do you do when a baby is born? Let's say they come over at 6 days old or something like that, and now we're talking about sending them back to they're completely indoctrinated into our culture. In other words, it's all they know. And now we're going to send them back to, some country where they've never been.
Yeah.
And they don't know the culture. They may not know the language, And so I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think there needs to be some way to make sure that moving forward, it's not being done intentionally. I think that he made a good point that it should be on a case-by-case basis, based largely in fact. I don't know if, there's plenty of American people who aren't bettering themselves so much. I think it's more, are they supporting themselves? If you come across a child and they're not bettering themselves and not in school, but they're not taking welfare dollars and they're living in some, subpar housing, well, okay, who are they hurting? Not, really. I think it really does come to government benefits, and whether or not they're making strides to get off that. And I think then that goes to, well, why isn't that? And I think that I read an article where they were trying to pass some stuff, but instead of, hoping that somebody's going to try and get off welfare, why not make it so that there is a path to a point of, of getting off it, and you either follow that path or you don't. Just like school, you either pass or you fail.
Yeah. I don't mean to cut you off, but we're going to be coming up on the time frame here for ending this. So go ahead. Any thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't know a lot about it. But wasn't it that an executive order that was?
Yes, it was. Yeah, yeah.
So I guess it would be better to have something that was kind of went through the House and Congress, was approved. Because Obama said he's going to fix immigration, and he just did an executive order. So I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I guess it wouldn't be good to just uproot people and families.
Yeah.
But it does say that you can, if you're about to be pregnant, jump over the border, have your baby, and now you both get to stay. And I don't think
there's
got to be a middle ground. I just don't know what it is because I haven't thought enough about it.
So when it comes to the DACA and the immigration stuff, I was actually talking to my dad about this last night, and he was saying that what he thinks, Trump ran on, I'm going to build a wall, I'm going to get rid of all the illegals, I'm going to do this and that. And he thinks that Trump actually never intended to get rid of all of the illegals. I think that what Trump's real, goals were to stop the bleeding, kind of get the border under control, and then criminals, and get them out of the country. But he thinks that, especially now with working with the Democrats and stuff like that, kind of going forward, that he wouldn't be surprised if like a year or two before, we have there's a bug problem.
Never fails. Welcome to the set.
Yeah,
but he also ran on immigration reform.
Yeah. So he wouldn't be surprised if like a year or two, like before the next election, he puts through this thing where it kind of like is a pathway to citizenship or something for all of these people.
I think he's going to do it this year.
Yeah, ready? But then that is, going to really help him with the Latino vote in the next election. And that's kind of the thinking also of what Trump's doing too.
But if that pathway to citizenship is something similar to what Canada does, if you want to immigrate there, where it's merit based and everything else. I mean, granted, yes, they're here. Yes, they're illegal, and it's a touchy subject. It's illegal. Nobody's doubting that. But given the political climate and everything else, and obviously he needs to do what he wants to do to get, to keep Republican support and get reelected, a path to citizenship that was merit based.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I like about what
wrong, but the smartest decision, maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
The one.
Well, here's my thoughts on this. I want to look at this realistically, which is we have a lot of illegal immigrants here.
Can't get rid of them.
Millions.
Yeah.
The last estimate I saw was between 15 and 25 million.
Yeah.
And that's a huge gap there on a guess.
Yep.
That's 10 million that there might be.
Plus or minus.
Yeah. So that's huge. Is it realistic that we could use a net and go through the country and just sweep out all these people that are here illegally? No, absolutely not. And the main concern from people that are upset with the immigration problem of people being here illegally is the fact that they're not contributing tax-wise to the country that's also supporting them through the taxes of other people. It's not so much an argument from those that are against DACA that they just don't want immigrants here. That's never been an issue that I've heard. I mean, there's always going to be the a-holes in society that don't want certain people mixed in with their culture and everything, but that's minute in comparison to...
That's the fringe extremist.
Yeah, but I mean, so what I'm trying to say is that, look, if you're gonna do some sort of sweeping legislation of reform where you grant citizenship to people, then just do it. Get it over with and do it, secure the border, and let's stop the hemorrhaging now and fix the problem and move forward with it. I don't necessarily want amnesty. I don't think that's right. I have friends, Brant being one of them.
My parents,
the Keltons being another one, where they went through the system in a legal way. It took years, and you have all these people that are just waiting for a sweeping amnesty to jump the system. And to be honest with you, the people that are most pissed off at an amnesty type scenario are the people that have gone through the system in a legal manner.
Absolutely.
And those that are the immigrants themselves.
That's the one thing that I really like that I never thought of that Ben brings up in his response too, is that yes, give them, a path, but they go to the back of the line.
Yep.
Wherever the line may be ending, but you're behind the people that are already going through it.
Listen, something that always blows my mind is the fact that, and in a good way, and I'm not disparaging this at all or anything, but a lot of immigrants that come into this country also leave family behind.
Yeah.
Right? And so when they enter the system, if they're getting paid under the table, which is a modern-day slave situation, that we're seeing, that not many people realize and know about, where they start working for someone, whether it's on a farm or other type of manual labor or in restaurants or anything like that, where they're getting paid less than minimum wage. And if they dare ask for anything more, the employer can say, I'll have you deported. You know what I mean? Like, they have that thumb of control then at that point. The employer does. So it's a modern-day type of slavery, work slavery here in the United States that's going on under that. But you also have to figure that there's a large portion of these people, these immigrants that are here, that are also sending money back to their families to help support them, because the American dollar goes a hell of a lot further in their countries than their dollar.
Yeah, we talked about
or
this last
whatever
week.
it is. Yeah. So when you have, let's say, 50% of 20 million people sending $1 back every month, and think of how unrealistic that is if they're sending any money at all. It's going to be more than that. That's $50 million a month leaving the American economy. I guarantee you it's a lot more than that, okay?
Yeah.
That's no longer in the American economy. That's a drain.
Yep.
Okay, so there are multiple problems that have nothing to do with the people themselves. They're doing good things for their family. You can't disparage them for it.
Yeah.
But it is hurting the American economy as a whole, as well as the tax purposes of not paying into a system that's also propping them up and supporting them through welfare and food stamps and other programs.
It's a double whammy, too, because if they're getting paid under the table, that money isn't getting charged income tax, so the government isn't earning that money back to give to... and then the money's leaving the economy on top of it, so it's like...
The left wants to make this out to be a people problem, but it's actually a big economic problem.
I think that every illegal Hispanic immigrant that is in the country now, we should have like a sort of like a Big Brother program, and we should take each one of them and link them up with a legitimate Indian immigrant. They all own
I don't know where you're going with this.
When's the last time you gone to Dunkin' Donuts?
Oh, okay,
Anywhere. I'm just saying, you know.
Did you see that Joe Biden clip?
No.
Oh, you serious? You were making fun of Joe Biden literally said, you can't go into a Dunkin' Donuts or a 7-Eleven unless you are an Indian and know how to speak their language. Like, they're everywhere.
But they're all everywhere owning a business. Not taking welfare, owning a business.
Can I tell you the economics behind their business practices as well?
Is that where the government invested in the...
It's a loophole that they are able to take advantage of where families, and it's smart because, listen, if there's a loophole there and you can take advantage of it, that's the government's fault.
We either change it or
exactly.
good for them.
Yep.
But these immigrant families basically come in, they run a business for a certain amount of years until it's like tax-free of some sort until a certain period, and then they give it to one of their other family members who can go that certain amount of years again, and it's a cycle that keeps on just going.
Now,
They keep on switching between
I get it, they're
family
not paying taxes, but they're also not being propped up by our tax dollars.
No, absolutely. But that it's a link in the system that's missing that helps with the economy.
Again, we're letting it happen, and they're not a drain on society. We're giving them the money that we're expecting for the service that we're getting.
They give me Slurpees. I mean, it's
we're
talking about 7-Eleven. I mean,
I was talking about Dunkin' because
love Dunkin'.
Yes,
runs America. Okay, so let's go. One more clip, and I don't think we're going to have too much of a discussion besides just saying how awesome he was in this response on abortion. And then we're going to dedicate the last 15 minutes or so to talking about Trump going over to the Democratic side, the dark side.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at Shapiro's response to a question about abortion.
So my question was about abortion, and I just wanted to know, why exactly do you think a first trimester fetus has moral value?
Okay, so a first trimester fetus has moral value because whether you consider it a potential human life or a full-on human life, it has more value than just a cluster of cells. If left to its natural processes, it will grow into a baby. So the real question is, where do you draw the line? So you're going to draw the line at the heartbeat, because it's very hard to draw the line at the heartbeat. There are people who are adults who are alive because of a pacemaker. They need some sort of outside force generating their heartbeat. Okay, are you going to do it based on brain function? Okay, well, what about people who are in a coma? Should we just kill them? Right? The problem is, anytime you draw any line other than the inception of the child, you end up drawing a false line that can also be applied to people who are adults. So either human life has intrinsic value or it doesn't. I think we both agree that adult human life has intrinsic value. Can we start from that premise?
I believe that sentience is what gives something moral value, not necessarily being a human alone.
Okay, because, so when you're asleep, can I stab you?
I'm still considered sentient when I'm asleep.
Okay, if you are in a coma from which you may awake, can I stab you?
Well then, no. I guess not. I mean,
I'm glad you answered that, because I have no interest in actually murdering you.
But that's still potential sentience, and it's still a potential...
I agree, it is potential sentience. You know what else is potential sentience? Being a fetus.
The issue with that... The issue I have with that, though, is that if I'm in a coma and I'm not, doing anything to anyone, I'm not causing any issues amongst the world, whereas an unwanted child may or may not be a burden to people.
Okay, well, there are lots of people who are unwanted, right? I mean, there are lots of people's parents who are unwanted, right? We're a bunch of college students. The problem is that now you're shifting the argument, right? Before you were making the argument based on the intrinsic value of a life based on sentience, and now you're talking about the level of burden that somebody presents as a separate moral argument. Okay, I don't believe that you being a burden on somebody is justification for them killing you, as a general rule.
I'll leave it at that, but I appreciate you and thank you.
No, thanks.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Surgical.
Yeah.
He is surgical with his responses.
That I love, but it's potential sentient life. Yes, you know what else is potential sentient life? A fetus.
That guy was standing over a bear trap and he stepped right in it.
He actually did a swan dive.
Over again.
Oh, so bad. Okay,
well,
so
I appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
bye. All right, buddy. See ya.
Opens it up.
Just puts his head in.
And then puts his head right.
So, okay, let's go over the last topic here. It's just an open discussion. Within the last 2 weeks, Trump has really been actually meeting with Pelosi and Schumer and making a lot of deals in which seemingly the right is getting nothing out of the deals and the left is getting everything. That being with DACA this week. The immigration stuff, no wall being built. I mean, there was nothing in the budget for the wall to get built at all. And he's just been working with them left and right on things. And I find it fascinating, personally, that, and I'm bashing some people, one of which was actually supposed to be here tonight, but, I find it fascinating that we have people like myself, and you know this from being on so often and everything. Yeah. I was not a Trump supporter, right? Yeah. I was very anti-Trump during the primaries. I voted for him for the Supreme Court. Not a big fan of him personally, but I do praise him when he deserves praise, and I've been praising him a lot on some of the stuff that he's been doing. Like, every week I find myself saying something pretty good about Trump. I'll call him out on some of his stuff that he does, but I also praise him. That is not the case for Trump supporters that are diehard, right? Yeah. Diehard Trump supporters will try to dig out any excuse that they can for, like, honest to God, like, this is basically the kind of conversation where last week that I forget what the topic was, he started working with the Democrats, and my one buddy, who's a great guy, I'm not disparaging him in any way, but the way he approached the argument is that, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of upset with him working with Pelosi and Schumer, but you got to understand, he's not a politician. He's a business guy, and there's a strategy there, and there's something secret. He's working on something. He's working on something, and it may look like he's screwing us over right now, but we're going to win. We're going to win so good. It's going to be great, and it's like the same bumper sticker crap that they go to as the end result, which is great and everything else, but no circumstantial evidence that leads to this actually happening. And the argument that I had today was actually in regards to DACA and everything. He's like, well, the Republicans are refusing to work with him, And that's true. The Republicans suck. We won the House, the Senate, the White House. We put another Supreme Court justice into place. We won governorships and mayorships across the country. It went red like crazy. We haven't gotten anything done with this Congress, okay? They're refusing. They refuse to do Obamacare. They're refusing. Next up is going to be tax cuts. And Donald Trump literally just said, taxes may actually go up on the rich, and it might not change at all, or it will go up. It's nothing going down. And he's backtracking on everything that he's doing. And the argument today was, well, the Republicans haven't been doing anything. They suck. They're worse than the Democrats. And he is just doing some strategy right now to work with the Democrats to shove it up the Republicans' butts and make an example out of them. Yeah, but when you're doing that, everyone that voted for you on these specific issues that you're now backtracking on, you're shoving it right up our butts too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I hate these excuses that people keep on coming up with. Well, let's go to you first on this one.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think when you're trying to get some stuff done, which they haven't gotten anything done, I mean, you're going to have concessions on both sides. Not everyone's going to get everything that they want.
And I'm going to come back to you. I'll let you go right off of this response. But if you look at when Obama won the majority, okay, he never went to the Republicans to try and compromise on anything. And they always got everything that they wanted. Even when they lost the majority, he still never tried to work with the Republicans. Okay? Completely different story with this one. So, go ahead.
Well, I mean, Trump's not Obama, so...
I see. It's two different sides of the same coin for me.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the one thing I was warning about throughout the whole primaries was that my ultimate fear is that he's a Democrat in the hallway. That eventually he's going to come out. I didn't think it would be in 6 to 8 months. I thought it would be maybe in 3 or 4 years or maybe 7 years that he finally pushed through some stuff. But I mean, this is coming out now in the first year.
Yeah. So what I've kind of heard as far as the immigration stuff that he's working with them on was coming up with some kind of plan for the Dreamers and DACA and stuff like that, so that Democrats will be more happy with that. But securing the border apparently was supposed to be in there now too, and there were supposed to be deals made as far as the wall down the line. Right now there are renovations being done to the wall and fence areas, stuff like that. But they both have kind of come out and said that, the media reported that a deal was done between Trump and Schumer and Pelosi. He said there was no deal done, and even Schumer and Pelosi said, well, we might have worded that wrong or whatever. So kind of don't really
it's
know.
The fact that he's allowing these conversations to take place right now when we hold the power to get things done. Yeah, maybe he can't work with the Republicans. Like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell and people like Lindsey Graham and John McCain are a pain in the butt of society. Yeah. They're horrible. They're lumps. They are cysts that need to be removed from Congress. Go ahead.
I think that's making people mad, but I think another thing is, I think it might look a lot differently if he was doing the same kind of negotiations and the end result was, all right, well, we asked for this amount of money for the wall. They're agreeing to this amount of money for the wall. And in turn, we're going to give them this. And it's an actual negotiation where both sides are getting not everything they want, but some of what they want. That's a negotiation.
Yep.
And I think that would probably work in his favor. I really do. If that's how the end result was.
I feel a butt coming on.
But that's not what's happening.
Right.
It is literally him just going, all right,
you go.
I'll give you this if you give me that. I'm not giving you that.
Okay, well, here you go.
All right,
well,
that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
Wait, what?
I mean,
I thought you're the president.
That is exactly how we're supposed to be looking at this, which is what is the conservative side getting out of these deals that he's making? There's nothing there. At least not that we've seen so far. But if there is something, let us know.
I asked. I tried. They said no.
Yeah, but everything that they wanted, I just gave it to him.
Yeah, it almost does seem like he is at the point where he just wants something to get done. Like he wants something to get done, and the Republicans are kind of not letting him get it. So it's like you said, he's just kind of like, well, I'm going to get something done here. Mm-hmm. So we'll do this, and and I do think it also is. He's also kind of even just putting the media and almost. It's like now people are like don't know what to think of Trump anymore, right?
That's true.
So
that's true.
Democrats are like, wow, did you see that tweet he sent out about immigration? Like, are we really going to send out they're talking about how it's great. Yeah, they're talking about how
he sent out a tweet yesterday or the day before. He's like, DACA is on the table right now, but are we really going to deport all these people? Of course not. Like, that would be horrible or something like that.
Yeah. So Democrats are like, wow, that's great. And Republicans are all like, even on CNN, they were like, well, he's really angering his base, and this could affect him in the next election. And what I was telling my dad was, I was like, yeah, but it doesn't. They can be mad now, but when in the next election, when the Democrats roll out the next socialist Bernie Sanders protege, the Republicans aren't going to vote for them.
Bernie Sanders will be on strings.
Right.
At what point can we at least all just pause for a moment? Just for a moment. Let's not get rid of anything. Just hit the pause button.
Yep.
And focus on the chubby Korean guy with the transcontinental news.
Yeah.
Which he launched again over Japan and Guam.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You guys got nukes now and missiles that can reach us, but let's argue about
just talking about that yesterday.
A little bit longer
with
while
Tracy.
he aims them
right
Yeah.
closer and closer.
Well, who was it? Nero?
Dude, just
give them a circus and bread, and they won't pay attention to what we're doing. Is that Nero?
I don't know.
Something like that.
I understand the concept.
But essentially entertain them with all these other fancies of being either entertained or upset over something else while the real problems are being ignored, you know?
Does North Korea have any allies? Like,
No.
There's nobody. South Korea, China, Japan.
Russia.
I mean,
Russia
isn't that where they got their technology from?
Yeah, Russia is backing them up. I mean,
they got
recently,
upgraded from Windows 95 to 98.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
right.
Putin came out recently enough to say, I don't know if it was on Twitter or on news, but basically say, hey, listen, slow your roll and get back to negotiations. Enough of this, we're going to bomb them off the world talk.
That relationship is one of political expediency, like Bill and Hillary. Of evilness, of just like, I'm going to use the other one until I don't need them anymore, just to have some backup just in case I need it. You know,
like if let's say, God forbid, North Korea actually launched something and hit some country on the west or some city on the west coast with a nuke. You would think if that exactly
North Korea
we would demolish that entire country. Would Russia really come to their defense in this situation? So there wouldn't be a world war.
Defense, but you don't think there'd be retaliation?
I couldn't see a world war spawning from this because I just don't see anyone enough in
He really would be. If that happened, he really would be singing "Baby, You're Fine."
We started getting close, and Russian jets started buzzing. I mean, and then they started drilling off of Alaska. I mean, I don't know if it's just a relationship with comedians. I don't know anything about it, but I'm just looking at we take a carrier and get it kind of close to North Korea, and now the Russians are buzzing off the Alaskan coast and. Flying within 24 feet of our, Navy ships and stuff something's to that, no?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's what would North Korea gain from bombing the U.S. besides their own?
The thing is, I just feel like he is a child. I think he's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he would.
I'm gonna leave it with the last thoughts of Vanden here since he's so new to the podcast that he doesn't get a voice time. Well, we're gonna give Vanden's final thoughts. Where's that blonde wig? I had one. But I'm gonna leave it with him, and then we're gonna cut off because we're at the time frame for the ads to fill in, and then we'll be at 3 hours. So go for it.
Final thoughts
on Kim Jong-un and everything.
Well, I just don't know. What would be his main motivation to launch a nuke or start a war? I mean, it would probably be a very quick and decisive battle, if you will. But I mean, it would just lead to the I think his ultimate destruction. But maybe he is just a crazy.
He wants a seat at the table.
It's unfortunately at the kiddie table. So
right.
So, all right. I want to thank everyone for joining us in the podcast, whether you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube later on. And I obviously want to thank Vanden for coming out for the first time, Mike and Brant for coming back and joining us. This was actually kind of cool with having more than just one guest and actually opening up to a panel discussion. A little bit different of a way of doing it. Maybe I should have had less topics so we could focus longer conversations, but it doesn't really matter. But you can find me on social media on Facebook. Just search for the Generation Y Conservative. You can like and share from there. You can also get notifications when we go live. You can go to YouTube, search for the Generation Y Conservative, and subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when we publish videos, whether it's one of these podcasts or movie reviews or anything else that we have coming up in the works right now. Also, if you want to interact with me on Twitter, it's at Gen Y Conservative without the E on the end. And you can also, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, I kind of screwed up on that one. You can also find this podcast rebroadcast on Sundays from 3 to 6 p.m. on KLRN Internet Radio, which they also put me on the iTunes. So if you want to subscribe to the iTunes podcast and get updated that way and listen to the audio version, you can also go over to iTunes and search for the Generation Y Conservative by KLRN Radio. So It was an interesting night. We had sex robots down to Ben Shapiro being a surgical robot politically. So, but I want to thank everyone for joining in. Have a great night, and God bless America.